The cultivation family. I begin by taking a concubine and practicing the art of the sun and moon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176. Discourse Battle. I have to sigh in my heart. The Qin family is worthy of being a family of commerce, and this plan is really sound. These two conditions seem to be fair and just cooperation, and even vaguely beneficial, but in fact they are full of dangers. If he really agrees, then the source of the elixirs, talismans, and magic weapons in Wuyifang City will be completely controlled by Zun Pavilion, and may even fall into eternal catastrophe. In a short period of time, Zhou Daocheng was indeed profitable and could earn a lot of spiritual stones, but once an unexpected situation occurs, as long as Zun Pavilion breaks the contract, it will be equivalent to strangling the lifeblood of Wuyifang City. The same is true for the second condition, as Wuyifang City's greatest advantage. Formation is also extremely passive once it is in the hands of the opponent. If Zhou Daocheng agreed, he would almost push Wu Gu into the fire. Zhou Daocheng looked at the woman in front of him deeply and said calmly, "Miss Qin, do you think I am a fool?" "Master, why do you say this?" "I believe that my conditions are sincere, and I hope that the two of us can cooperate in a friendly manner." Aunt Qinmu looked candid, with a faint smile. Since Zhou Daocheng had seen through her thoughts, he would not be easily deceived by her. "Haha, you are sincere? Since you said so, I have one more request. If Miss Qin can agree, then I will agree to this cooperation." Zhou Daocheng took a sip of tea and said calmly, "Master, please tell me, the little girl will do her best to satisfy you." Zhou Daocheng said, "You and I are getting married, and you will marry me as my concubine. I will agree to this request." As soon as she finished speaking, Aunt Qinmu's face turned pale, and the charm between her brows dissipated a bit, but she became a little more angry. "Young master is joking." "I'm not joking. I think Aunt Mu is of marriageable age." "Is there anything wrong with this?" Zhou Daocheng's eyes were sharp. Since the other party was digging a hole for him, he didn't intend to give the other party a good look. Aunt Qinmu's face changed slightly and she said, "Aunt Mu has several cousins who are also of marriageable age. If the young master doesn't dislike them, they can get married." "Haha, cousin, there's no need for that. I'm only interested in you, Aunt Mu. If the girl refuses like this, is she looking down on me?" Don T dare. Hearing the aggressive tone of the other party, Aunt Qinmu also looked ugly, and said again, "Young master is a talented man, and he is more than worthy of Aunt Mu. However, Aunt Mu cares about the family, has made up her mind not to marry, and will not find the way. My dear, please understand." "Oh, no intention to marry?" Zhou Daocheng sneered and said, "It's okay not to marry, then Aunt Mu will stay tonight and spend a good night with me. I can also agree to these requests. How about that?" Boom. Slapping her jade hand on the table, Aunt Qinmu stood up angrily, her eyes cold. "Mr. Wu Gu, I sincerely seek your cooperation. It's fine if you don't agree. Why make such a joke?" Zhou Daocheng calmly took a sip of tea and said calmly, "You were obviously the one who made the joke first. If I agree to these two conditions, I'm afraid the lifeblood of the entire Wuyifang City will be firmly grasped by the girl, right?" Aunt Qinmu's eyes were deep, and she took a deep look at the person in front of her. She understood that this person was not easy to fool, and she couldn't help but feel a little wary in her heart. Since the young master is unwilling to cooperate sincerely, let's give up today's conversation. I just hope that the young master will not regret it in the future." Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "Let's go slowly without seeing her off. Take the foundation building expert with you and get out of Wuyifang City. We are leaving late. Don't blame me for forcing the girl to stay and share a night of spring supper." Aunt Qinmu's pupils shrank suddenly. She took a few steps back, and said in surprise, "Let's go, Aunt Mu. This young master is quite capable." A deep voice sounded. A restrained middle-aged man also appeared at the door. Zhou Daocheng was not too surprised about the visitor. He had already noticed the existence of this person, and he was also a strong foundation builder. As the second spirit root genius of Zun Pavilion, how could Aunt Qinmu come to Wu Yifeng City alone? Naturally, she would be accompanied by a strong person. But what surprised him was that Zun Pavilion actually hid a foundation-building powerhouse in addition to the head of the family, Qi, who was a foundation-building powerhouse on the surface. This can't help but make Zhou Daocheng secretly vigilant. It seems that none of these powerful forces are simple. The middle-aged man looked calm and looked at Zhou Daocheng. Mr. Wu Gu, Aunt Mu just offended me so much. Please forgive me. But you can really consider the cooperation between you and Zun Pavilion. Zhou Daocheng glanced at him and said, what I said is equally valid. If one day you are in trouble and ask Miss Qin to stay with me for a night, I may be able to help. The atmosphere became solemn again. A cold anger appeared on Aunt Qinmu's face. She didn't want to speak, but was stopped by the middle-aged man on the side. Then she said, thank you for your kindness, sir. I'll take my leave. Then she went directly. Turn around and leave. Zhou Daocheng smiled calmly. Since the other party had no sincere intention to cooperate, he did not need to give him face. But for Aunt Qinmu, the conditions he gave were not false. Although it is impossible to really agree to the other party's two conditions, if you can spend a good night with this girl and get a wisp of innate purple energy, it will be a surefire deal. However, after all, he is a genius with two spiritual roots. So the Qin family of Zun Pavilion should not be willing to do this. After leaving Foggy Bottom. Aunt Qinmu's face was still cold, with a chill in her brows, and she said angrily, Uncle, this bastard speaks so rudely. Why do we have to give in again and again? The middle-aged man looked calm and only replied with one sentence, before talking to you. The two seniors from the Dixia sect and the Jin sect had been forcibly expelled by him using the formation. The dozen or so late-stage Qi refining masters who came with him all died in it without any resistance. What? Aunt Qinmu's pupils shrank. The middle-aged man turned his head and took a deep look at the valley shrouded in layers of fog behind him, revealing a trace of fear. This is his territory after all. We must not conflict with him here. Your behavior just now is actually very dangerous. Aunt Qinmu heard this and showed an incredible expression, followed by deep fear. She didn't expect that this young master of the Fog Valley, who spoke without thinking and had a frivolous attitude, actually had such terrible power. Uncle, what should we do next? Let's go back first. This is his territory. We are no match for him here. But after leaving Fog Valley, the two sides can still compete normally. It is still unknown who will win in the end. The middle-aged man has considered it carefully and said, with the power of the five forces in our Beifang city, it is enough to suppress the people of Fog Valley. The competition has just begun. Fog Valley Fang City, restaurant room. Zhou Daocheng met Han Yi, who had been waiting for a long time. The two are also old friends. The contacts between the Spirit Snake sect and the Mountain and Sea sect are almost all under the responsibility of this elder Han. So the relationship between the two sides is very good. This is the scene at this time, which makes Zhou Daocheng quite helpless. Han Yi grabbed Zhou Daocheng's purple robe, crying and saying, Young master, you are so unkind. You built a new Fang city, and you don't know how to help your brothers for such a good thing. Chapter 177. The Spirit Snake sect joins. Zhou Daocheng touched his nose helplessly. He didn't expect that as soon as he came in, Elder Han would be so shameless and hug him and cry. However, in this way, he also roughly understood the idea of the Spirit Snake sect. The Spirit Snake sect, a powerful sect, has obvious advantages and disadvantages. It has strong strength, rich resources, and rare beast control methods. Unfortunately, they do not have the ability to convert these advantages into spirit stones, and the location of the sect is also in the deep mountains far away from the market. This leads to that even if they want to do business, they have no way or channel. Therefore, when they learned that Shanghai sect had established a market, they immediately made up their minds and must participate in this market, not to mention becoming a complete controller. At least they must occupy a seat in the market and earn spirit stones. They also believe that with their relationship with Shanghai sect, they will definitely be helped, which will be much easier and more convenient than doing business in other markets. What's more, this is a new market, everything is still in ruins, and they are fully capable of participating in the construction. After thinking for a while, Zhou Daocheng had some ideas in his mind. It is not impossible to let the Spirit Snake sect participate in the development of Wugu market. It is even a very good choice. The foundation of Wugu today is still too weak. Perhaps Zhou Daocheng does have absolute sovereignty in Wugu, enough to deal with many foundation building masters and remain invincible. But this is only the deterrence brought by the formation, which is too rigid, and the threat is not strong enough. As for other combat forces, there is only the woman with the red snake tattoo. However, this woman is not under his control, which is equivalent to an uncertain factor. Once she encounters trouble, she may run the fastest. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng urgently needs to strengthen his own strength with the challenges to be faced next. He believes that the invasion from Bay Market today is just a test. Although he has successfully solved it, it does not mean that he can rest assured. The other party may not easily invade Wugu market. However, competition outside the market is inevitable. He believed that once the people of Wugu market left the market, the 5 forces of Bay market would definitely kill them secretly. In this case, it was time to test the foundation of both sides. Zhou Daocheng needed some helpers to deal with these open and secret attacks. After thinking for a long time, Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, "Elder Han, if you really want to join Wugu market, I can agree." "Really?" Han Yi got up excitedly. Zhou Daocheng nodded slightly and said, "Wugu market is in a state of disrepair and does need help, but I have 2 conditions." "Sir, as long as it is within our tolerance, I will definitely agree to you." Zhou Daocheng pondered for a moment and said, "First, you need to send at least 3 elders of the 9th level of Qi refining to stay in Wugu market for a long time and help me manage Wugu. However, I will not let you work for nothing. I will take part of the tax revenue of Wugu market and pay it to you as management fees." After the first request, Han Yi agreed directly without any hesitation. This is not a request, it is a benefit. It directly promoted the Spirit Snake sect from a participant to the manager of Fog Valley, which perfectly met the needs of the Spirit Snake sect. Similarly, this also satisfied Zhou Daocheng's idea. Pulling the Spirit Snake sect into the Fog Valley camp can greatly enhance the foundation of Fog Valley and use it to fight against Bay Market. "No problem, sir, we agree to this request." Not to mention 3 9th level Qi refining masters, even 5 is not a problem. "Okay, second, I need you to provide spiritual beasts for a long time and stably, and they can only be sold in Fog Valley market. At the same time, I will also ensure that you are the only one selling spiritual beasts in the entire Fog Valley market." This request is actually very simple, just adding a layer of insurance. Even if Zhou Daocheng didn't say it, the Spirit Snake sect would sell spiritual beasts in the future. After all, this would be a huge profit. As expected, Han Yi also agreed directly. He didn't need to go back to the sect to discuss these 2 simple requests. He could make the decision completely by himself. After the 2 sides reached an agreement, Han Yi also showed a surprised expression and said excitedly, "Thank you for your help." Mr. Han Yi is grateful on behalf of the Spirit Snake sect. Zhou Daocheng smiled and waved his hand. "No need to say more, you and I have cooperated more than once or twice, and we are also familiar with each other's character. It is also a good thing for me that you can join this time." Han Yi modestly gratefully, "Okay, then when the auction is over, I will immediately return to the sect and inform other elders about this." When the 2 sides finished talking, the auction was coming to an end, and the finale auction items began to appear. Zhou Daocheng then put his eyes back to the auction. A total of 3 finale auction items were prepared: cave-type formations, spirit beasts soul-devouring ants, and condensing spirit Dao. The first 2 types are more in number. Whether it is formations or spirit beasts, the number exceeds 100, while there are only 3 condensing spirit pills. These 3 items are the most anticipated by all cultivators. especially cave-type formations and spirit beasts. In the entire world of immortal cultivation, formations and beast control methods are extremely rare. Many small markets do not sell them. They are only available in top markets such as Liaoyuan market, and the prices are generally very expensive. But what excited everyone was that such a newly established micro-market actually had such precious immortal cultivation resources. Although the quality is not high, it still can't stop the enthusiasm of the crowd. So as soon as these two auction items appeared, they were snatched by the crowd and the price also rose. The first level low-grade formation, which was originally worth 100-200 spirit stones, now costs more than 400 spirit stones. And many cultivators with sufficient funds did not just buy one set, but tried to buy a large number. For this situation, Zhou Daocheng couldn't help frowning. Maybe from now on, this behavior can bring more benefits, but it is not the case in the long run. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng immediately made a decision: each cultivator present can only buy one set of formation, and the price is also capped to prevent it from being hyped too high. This behavior, on the surface, makes the income less, but it demonstrates the credibility of the official market and maintains its authority. At the same time, it also makes many casual cultivators with less funds and weak foundation applaud, and the evaluation of Wugu market has been greatly improved. The same was true for the subsequent spirit-devouring ants, which limited the number of purchases, but still sold like hotcakes, allowing the spirit snake sect to gain a huge amount of spirit stones. And even Zhou Daocheng was jealous. Like the formation, the value and significance that spirit beasts can bring are also very great. Chapter 178 Shop Rental. In terms of strength alone, a soul-devouring ant may not be considered strong, and cultivators of the same level can easily defeat it, but it does not mean that the value of this kind of spiritual beast is low. In the wild, having a soul-devouring ant by your side can not only help guard against dangers around, but also enter some dangerous places that cultivators cannot enter, which has extraordinary significance. What's more, the strength of a soul-devouring ant is indeed not strong, but if there are 5 or even more than a dozen soul-devouring ants to assist, it can also greatly improve its strength. At least, in the battle with cultivators of the same level, it can improve the winning rate a lot. Therefore, all formations and spiritual beasts will be auctioned directly in just a few seconds once they are put on the auction table. After only 2 cups of tea, almost all the finale auction items were sold out, but it still could not satisfy the appetite of the cultivators present. Faced with this situation, Wei Hanshan also took control of the situation in time at the signal of Zhou Daocheng, and promised that from now on, Wugu will sell formations and spiritual beasts soul-devouring ants for a long time. This promise not only made everyone present feel at ease, but also raised the status of Wugu market in everyone's mind. In the eyes of many people, the level of Wugu market has even surpassed Bay market. How much can a market that can sell a large number of formations and spirit beasts do, no matter how weak it is? In the end, the appearance of the Ningling pill completely raised the atmosphere of the entire auction venue to the climax. Compared with the first 2 finale auction items, the Ningling pill is undoubtedly more significant. Formations and spirit beasts are only auxiliary means after all, at most allowing them to have higher efficiency and greater sense of security when hunting wild beasts in normal times. But the Ningling pill does give them the possibility of breaking through the foundation. For casual cultivators and small families, it is almost impossible to collect 50,000 or 60,000 spirit stones to buy a foundation pill. Especially for casual cultivators, even if they try their best, it is absolutely impossible to accumulate so many spirit stones. Most casual cultivators at the peak of the 9th level of Qi refining are also helpless when facing the bottleneck of foundation building. On the one hand, they really couldn't afford the foundation building pills, and on the other hand, they didn't have the courage to break through without the foundation building pills, so they could only let themselves be over 70 years old, and never have the chance to break through to the foundation building stage in their lifetime. For example, Wei Hanshan, he was over 70 years old, his meridians were rigid, and his strength began to decline. For him, the road had ended, and it was almost impossible to break through again. There were also some people who would risk their own death and force a breakthrough to the foundation building stage. They might succeed, but in most cases, they would die completely during the breakthrough. Although the Ningling pill only increased the probability of a breakthrough by 1 level, it was still an opportunity that could only be encountered but not sought for by many casual cultivators. Therefore, as soon as the 3 Ningling pills appeared, they were immediately scrambled by everyone, and they were all powerful people at the 9th level of qi refining. Even among the bidders, Zhou Daocheng saw Zhao, Liu Chengzu, Yuanzong and others. For them, breaking through the foundation building stage was also a huge threshold. If they could have the Ningling pill, they could also increase the success rate a lot. Until the end, 3 foundation building pills were won by 3 qi refining 9th level masters. They were Zhao, an unknown casual cultivator, and a patriarch of a small family. When the auction ended, many people were still reluctant to leave. But the end of the auction did not mean the end of the opening of the market. For many powerful casual cultivators and small families with certain power, today's transactions have just begun. The auction was just an opening, and the sale and rental of shops in the market was the real climax of today. A huge market could not be completely controlled by Zhou Daocheng alone. It also needed to cooperate with other powerful people and settle in it for common development. In the market, most of the small shops near the periphery could be rented directly, and the price was relatively cheap. Even many casual cultivators and forces with average strength could barely afford to rent. For example, the Zhou family, where the 3rd and Zhou Shulin was, emptied all the spirit stones on their bodies and barely bought a small shop, which was considered to be a complete home in the Wugu market. There are many similar small families. They are generally weak and have insufficient funds. They try their best to buy a shop with the idea of taking root and multiplying here. Zhou Daocheng is very happy to accept such small families because they have no complicated background relationships and no messy little thoughts. They just want to survive. Therefore, even if many small families cannot afford the spirit stones, Zhou Daocheng will allow them to buy on credit and repay slowly in the future. If they really can't pay, it's okay to expel them directly in the future. Near the center, the shops here are larger and more valuable, so they can't be rented easily. They need to cooperate with the high-level officials of the market. For example, the Spirit Snake sect directly connected with Zhou Daocheng and sold a large shop with an extremely advantageous location at an ultra-low price of 1 spirit stone a year. There are also Wei Hanshan, Zhao, Liu Chengzu, Yuanzong, and female monks, each of whom is assigned 2 shops, which can be operated by themselves or rented. At the same time, Zhou Daocheng himself also left a few large shops with very good geographical locations. He planned to open some shops for himself and leave some for the Zhou family. After the market settled down, he planned to let the Zhou family develop here. Although the environment of Shenlin Mountain is good, it has been far away from the market for a long time and lacks development opportunities, so the development prospects are not enough, and Wugu market is definitely a better choice for the family. In addition, there are some small families with strong strength or proficiency in immortal cultivation techniques, which are also interested in entering Wugu for development. In this regard, Zhou Daocheng did not agree to all of them, but asked Wei Lao to conduct in-depth investigation and screening, and select families with relatively clean backgrounds to settle in, especially for families proficient in immortal cultivation techniques. Their backgrounds must be confirmed again and again. And in terms of quantity, Zhou Daocheng also gave strict requirements in the entire Wugu market. The number of forces for each immortal cultivation technique must not exceed 2. Zhou Daocheng is a cultivator who grew up in the family, so he knows more about the competition between families. In many cases, the more people there are, the better the competitive atmosphere. Once there are more wolves and less meat, all kinds of unscrupulous competition will appear, and it is easy to disrupt the market, which is extremely unfavorable for a market, and it is also not conducive to Zhou Daocheng's control of them. So in the end, Wei Lao and Zhou Daocheng discussed again, and after layers of screening, A total of 2 forces were accepted to settle in Wugu. The Xiaodan Pavilion that is proficient in alchemy was also a foundation building force 100 years ago, but because of an accidental loss of foundation building inheritance, it became a force in the Qi refining period. Later, it joined Bay Market, but was oppressed again, so it had to leave and left. It has become more and more destitute in recent years. Taking this opportunity, it tried to develop in Wugu Market, and Zhou Daocheng also agreed. The other one is the Wang family that is proficient in talismans. It is a small family established by casual cultivators. There are 3 talisman masters in the family, and their identities are also very clean. Chapter 179 Spiritual Field and Cave. It is said that they once had a first-grade medium-quality spiritual vein, but later they were invaded by monsters and now have no place to live, so they came to Wuyifang City. Both forces meet Zhou Daocheng's requirements very well. They are not strong, have a small number of people, have clean identities, and are extremely easy to control. Moreover, their alchemy and talisman skills are actually not low. Although they cannot reach the 2nd grade level, if they only refine 1st grade pills and talismans, they are definitely more than enough. Before accepting them, Zhou Daocheng also slightly tested their abilities and agreed after confirming that they have real materials. At the same time, he also deeply understood that the success rate of alchemy can reach 60% to 70%. Instead of Qinlai, a prodigal, who refines 1st grade low-grade pills, the success rate is only about 20%, which really makes him heartbroken. But there is no way. Qinlai himself is not talented. He was forced to become an alchemist without a master to teach him. It is normal for his level to be lowered. However, in the future, the Wugu market will have a stable source of elixirs, so there is no need for Qinlai to waste spiritual medicines. While the shops in the Wugu market are being rented and sold in large quantities, the spiritual fields and caves in the 2nd valley also began the first round of sales and leasing. At first, many cultivators sneered. After all, selling shops is fine, but who would sell caves and spiritual fields in the market? Moreover, if the concentration of spiritual energy was only the same as that in the 1st valley, probably no one would be willing to live here. However, when they first walked into the 2nd valley, they felt their faces burning. Because they were surprised to find that the concentration of spiritual energy in the 2nd valley was a world apart from that in the 1st valley, and it actually reached the peak of the 1st grade upper grade. This means that the concentration of spiritual energy here is almost much higher than that of the garrisons of most Qi refining period forces. For casual cultivators, such a superior cultivation environment is something they never dared to think of before. At the same time, everyone couldn't help but sigh that the formation method of the Lord of the Wugu was really amazing. It is incredible that 2 completely connected valleys have such different concentrations of spiritual energy. Therefore, after seeing the environment of the 2nd valley with their own eyes, dispelled their doubts and everyone began to try to buy and rent. But there is no doubt that the spiritual fields and caves in the 2nd valley are very expensive just to rent, let alone to buy. A cave with a defensive formation and a gathering formation costs almost tens of thousands of spiritual stones, which is not a price that ordinary casual cultivators can afford. If it is only rented for 1 year, the price is about 1,000 spiritual stones. Not to mention the caves with better environment, larger area and more formations. The same is true for the spiritual fields. The expensive price keeps many cultivators and forces out, and they can only look at the valley with rich spiritual energy in front of them and sigh helplessly. However, Zhou Daocheng did not completely give the key opportunities. At the beginning, Wei Hanshan used the spiritual fields and caves in the 2nd valley to recruit 5 casual cultivators of the 9th level of Qi refining. The agreement is also very simple. Wugu market provides them with permanent caves and spiritual fields, and these cultivators also need to stay in Wugu for a long time. If they want to go out to hunt monsters, they also need to apply to Wei Laowei in advance. In addition, Wugu also has the right to arrange for them to perform some tasks, such as public security management, or assisting in hunting powerful monsters. Strictly speaking, they are actually equivalent to signing a contract to sell themselves and become a member of Wugu's subordinates. For many casual cultivators, Freedom is more important than life. In most cases, it is absolutely impossible to sign such a contract. However, the environment in the second valley is so good that it is difficult for them to resist this temptation, so some casual cultivators are willing to sign an agreement and join Wugu. Now, Zhou Daocheng plans to continue to promote this agreement to attract some powerful cultivators and forces to sell themselves to Wugu in a similar way, so as to get the opportunity to settle in the second valley. In addition, in order to make the agreement easier to accept, Zhou Daocheng also made some modifications and set up two different agreements. The first one is completely similar to the 5 9th level Qi refining cultivators, who completely sold themselves to Wugu and obtained the permanent right to use the spiritual fields and caves. The second one is a relatively relaxed way of cooperation. Wugu rented the spiritual fields and caves to them for use, and they did not need to pay spiritual stones. However, Wugu would usually issue them some tasks, such as hunting monsters, collecting materials, or defending Wugu. In short, it is equivalent to an employment relationship. Generally speaking, this kind of employment relationship can be signed for a period of 1 year, 2 years, or even 5 years or 10 years. When these two contracts were released, many smart forces and casual cultivators fell into deep contemplation. They have already understood that the value of the second valley is not to earn spiritual stones, but to enhance the strength of Wugu. A large number of homeless forces without a base and caves for cultivation were all gathered in Wugu and became part of this market. Just using a cave, a spiritual field, and a safe living environment here can exchange for a group of powerful combat forces. But it is such a simple temptation that many casual cultivators are deeply trapped in it. No one wants to wander around, live in a wilderness filled with monsters, or be homeless. The environment of Wuyifang City is indeed something they yearn for. It's a pity that many people have such ideas but don't have the strength to match them. Zhou Daocheng's two types of cooperation contracts are all aimed at powerful individuals and forces, and at least they need to have 9th level Qi refining strongmen. This directly screens out a large number of independent cultivators, including the Zhou family and other forces where the third and Zhou Shulin is. And the truly powerful cultivators will not easily sign such a contract of selling themselves. They need to think and weigh for a long time before making a decision. So on the first day, not many people settled in the second valley. But Zhou Daocheng was not worried. Even if it was not sold or rented out, at most he would use it himself, which would also bring great value. The first day of the opening of the Wugu market, it was very good to have the current performance. Although there were some unexpected situations and some unpleasant things happened, the overall situation was under control. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng was still very satisfied. After dealing with everything and it was getting dark, Zhou Daocheng also handed over most of the things to Wei Hanshan and Meng Yushan, and returned to the third valley. However, as soon as he entered the valley, he met Pan He, who walked out of the valley. Zhou Daocheng secretly thought it was bad luck, but he couldn't avoid it. The moment the two looked at each other, Zhou Daocheng keenly felt a strong murderous aura, the eerie white bone banner, and the roaring of the remaining souls of monsters around. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but frown, his muscles tensed, wondering what had stimulated this person. "Boy, do you also live in this valley? What advice do you have, Senior?" Chapter 180 Disaster at Deep Forest Mountain. HMPH. Stay away from Flame Snake Queen and don't have any inappropriate thoughts about her, otherwise. Don't blame me for exposing your Fog Valley. Senior may have some misunderstandings. Senior Snake Queen and I are not familiar with each other. Pan He's eyes were cold, and he said, "Your presence next to her is a mistake in itself." Faced with such unreasonable logic, Zhou Daocheng's eyes also became a little colder, and the atmosphere froze instantly. And at this moment, the voice of the woman with the red snake tattoo suddenly sounded. "Pan He, don't make trouble at the door of my cave. Do you have to make things difficult for a junior?" Hearing this, Pan He did not say much, snorted coldly, and turned around. Until he left the valley, Zhou Daocheng still stood calmly, took a look at the cave of the woman with the red snake tattoo, and felt a little heavy. The appearance of Pan He brought him a lot of pressure. If there was only one woman with the red snake tattoo, Zhou Daocheng would still be sure to control her and keep the relationship between the two sides balanced. But unexpectedly, behind the woman with the red snake tattoo, there was actually a dog-licking pursuer in the foundation building period, which made things a little troublesome. And what's more troublesome is that this person also has great hostility towards himself. At this moment, Zhou Daocheng had only one idea in his mind: whether to take action in advance, use the formation to trap Ban He to death, and solve this potential trouble. But after just thinking about it, he gave up this choice. He only had 20% control over the formation. If he wanted to completely trap a foundation building strongman, it is really a very difficult thing. What's more, he only has the ability to besiege, but not the ability to kill. Is it possible to keep the other party in the formation and wait for him to die in it? This is really unrealistic. After a long silence, Zhou Daocheng understood in his heart, if he wants to solve the current situation, he can't rely on external forces after all, and he still needs to have strong strength himself. Whether it is the woman with red snake tattoos, the spirit snake sect with whom he has a good relationship, or even this natural maze, they are just external forces. What Zhou Daocheng really needs now is a foundation building power that he can trust completely and belongs to himself. And where can he get this power? Zhou Daocheng's mind is full of thoughts. Deep forest mountain. A group of people appeared in the surrounding jungle, looking at the busy deep forest mountain, with a look of surprise in their eyes. Young master, we finally found it. Qi Yunhe looked at the mountain in front of him calmly with sharp eyes, muttering to himself, Danchai Mountain Zhou family, I didn't expect that after such a disaster, they still have a second-level spiritual vein. They are really rich in heritage. A Qi family cultivator wearing Qi family floating cloud clothing and short stature asked, Yunhe, do you want to take action directly? I heard that all of the strong men of the Zhou family have died. With the strength of our team, we should be able to easily flatten this kind of thing. Qi Yunhe shook his head. Knowing yourself and the enemy, you can fight 100 battles without danger. Although we have 4 9th-level Qi refining strong men, this is the opponent's lair after all, and no one can be sure that there are strong men hidden here. Then Yunhe, what are you going to do? Third Elder, you are the strongest. Sneak in to find out their strength first, and after confirming their strength, we will take action. The third elder of the Qi family slightly, yes, you act cautiously and carefully, and you have some of your father's style. Well, I will go down to see the situation. Qi Yunhe just smiled faintly and didn't say much. After half a day, it was late at night. The third elder returned from Shenlan Mountain and brought good news. Yunhe, only 2 9th-level Qi refining masters were found. Their strength is pretty good, but they should be a little worse than us. Only 2? Qi Yunhe asked in surprise. Yes, there will be no problem. At least in the entire mountain range, only the aura of 2 9th-level Qi refining masters can be felt. Qi Yunhe said to himself, I didn't expect that a powerful foundation-building family would fall into such a state in just 2 years. The changes in the world are really unpredictable. Indeed, the Zhou family of Tanchai Mountain is also a powerful family that has been passed down for 100 years. I didn't expect that it would end up like this under the conspiracy of the Chen and Ma families. The third elder of the Qi family couldn't help but sigh. Qi Yunhe slightly, since they have fallen, let's send them off for the last time. It is also their blessing to become the nourishment of my Qi family. The cold words have determined the fate of the family in front of them. The fight between families is so cruel. They devour each other, compete with each other, and destroy each other. Only the strong can retain their blood and pass it down. Yunhe, since the situation has been investigated clearly, let's just do it. Qi Yunhe nodded and said, okay, all of us will act together and decapitate the 9th-level Qi refining strongman first. If I remember correctly, the one who is still alive now should be Zhu Qingyai, the head of the Zhou family. This person is not simple and must be eliminated as soon as possible. Okay, since the head of the family asked you to be responsible for this matter, we will naturally cooperate with you in full. The group made plans before taking action. Under the cover of a 9th-level Qi refining expert, they carefully sneaked into the deep forest. In the silence, There was no sound at all. The spiritual fields in the deep forest were neatly arranged, and green seedlings had grown. They swayed slightly in the night wind. The biting cold wind blew the upright green seedlings slightly down. The red-feathered spiritual chicken in the dream also woke up from its slumber and made a few calls. It seemed to indicate that something bad was going to happen. A series of black shadows entered Shenlin Mountain from a hidden path and headed towards the spiritual vein at the core. Shenlin Mountain's alert was not weak, but the strength of the remaining members of the Qi family was too low to take effective precautions. The Zhou family, who were sleeping peacefully, seemed to be pushed onto a cliff at this moment. The Qi family quickly groped their way to the vicinity of the spiritual vein. Several caves were dug on the nearby rock walls. The 9th-level Qi refining expert, with his keen perception, quickly determined the location of the 2 9th-level Qi refining experts of the Zhou family. Without any hesitation, the 4 elders of the Qi family attacked at the same time. Boom! Bang! The powerful force erupted instantly, and a huge crack appeared in the mountain. The stone cave collapsed immediately, and the earth and rocks flew everywhere. The Qi family cultivators cooperated extremely well, rushed into the cave quickly, and took out powerful magic weapons at the same time, and chopped at the cultivators inside. Clang! But what was heard was not the sound of a sword slashing at flesh, but the sound of a sword slashing directly at the stone bed. Clang! There was only a crisp sound, the sound of the blade colliding with the stone. What, no one? The elder of the Qi family exclaimed. He clearly felt the breath of a 9th-level Qi refining expert, but there was nothing in front of him. Just as several people were stunned in place, a dreamy bell sounded. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding-a-ling-a-ling. The crisp and pleasant sound was like a death warrant at this moment, which instantly changed everyone's expression. The extremely terrifying power spread in the air and instantly attacked everyone's mind. Chapter 181 Golden Sword Nail Leg. In just one breath, everyone felt dizzy, their eyes dim, their breath weakened, their knees softened, and they fell to the ground. At the same time, fear began to spread in their hearts. They tried their best to get rid of this state, but they were powerless. At this time, Zhu Qingyi emerged from under the bed with a calm look. Because he used the 2nd-level magic weapon, the soul calming bell, his face was extremely pale at this moment. Looking at the kneeling thing in front of him, his eyes were full of confusion and caution, and at the same time, there was deep worry. Shenlin Mountain was invaded by outsiders. In addition to shock, Zhu Qingyi was angry. This completely secret family residence, unknown to outsiders, was Zhu Jia's last trump card and the last chance to pass on the bloodline. It should have protected the safety of the Zhu family members in the next few decades, and reproduced and restored its foundation. But in just 2 years, it was discovered by outsiders. Even the group of people in front of him were neither the Ma family nor the Chen family, but a mysterious force that he didn't know at all, and with just a cursory glance, he could sense the aura of 4 Qi refining level 9 masters. This kind of strength is definitely not something the Zhu family can resist now. Zhu Qingyi was cautious and secretly kept a hand, using a set of formations to be on guard, so he avoided being ambushed to death. Otherwise, he would have become a dead soul under the knife. Zhu Qingyi looked solemn, not daring to be careless. He quickly unsheathed the magic sword in his hand and stabbed directly at the seriously injured people, trying to get rid of this person directly. The effect of the 2nd-level soul-suppressing bell is enough to make the 9th-level Qi refining cultivator lose the ability to move, and the power is terrible. At this juncture, the Qi family members lying on the ground also showed a look of horror. They didn't expect that the Zhu family actually had such a deep foundation, and they directly injured 4 people with just a 2nd-level magic weapon. However, Zhu Qingyi was only at the 9th level of Qi refining after all, and the power of the soul-suppressing bell he used was limited, and he couldn't kill with one blow. The Qi family monk who knelt on the ground gritted his teeth, took out a bottle of pills, and stuffed it into his mouth with all his strength. At the same time, a stack of talismans was quickly taken out of the storage bag and thrown towards Zhu Qingyi. Zhu Qingyi's face changed, and he quickly retreated when he felt the powerful power in the talisman. After taking the pills, the few people recovered obviously quickly, and their minds regained a bit of clarity. Zhou Chengyai was extremely surprised, and he probably guessed that the pills they took should be extremely precious pills for treating mental injuries. In just a moment, the Qi family members recovered most of their health. The talismans were also the first-grade fire talisman and golden sword talisman. The terrifying power was released in the air, like a spell cast by a 9th-level Qi refining expert, and it instantly exploded in the narrow cave. The Qi family cooperated well. At the moment when the talisman exploded, they used another first-grade giant rock talisman to block in front of everyone to prevent their own attacks from hurting themselves. Zhou Chengyai's pupils shrank suddenly, and he immediately raised his arms to resist. Compared with the foundation, the Zhou family had no other means except for the few remaining second-grade magic tools. No elixir, no talisman, and not even a decent armor magic tool. Moreover, Zhou Chengyai had just used the soul calming bell, and most of his mana was consumed. His breath was already weak. How could he resist multiple first-grade talismans? Without any surprise, he rushed through the entire cave with the golden light. The powerful force of the talisman bombarded Zhou Chengyai and directly repelled him to the stone wall behind him. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and Zhou Chengyai's breath suddenly became weak. The flames burned his chest, and a large piece of black charcoal appeared. But the offensive is far from over. The Qi family came as a whole team, with 4 9th-level Qi refining masters and 5 8th-level Qi refining masters. Even Qi Yun, the weakest, has reached the 7th level of Qi refining. With mutual cooperation, how could Zhou Chengyai easily resist? However, after the first round of talisman bombardment, the Qi family did not take the initiative to attack. After all, they still remembered the power of the soul calming bell. So, they took out several first-level top-grade talismans again and looked at Zhou Chengyai with ferocious eyes. "Old thing, I didn't expect you to be so smart. You dared to hide in the dark and attack. Unfortunately, you will die today." After that, the 2 golden sword talismans were used again. 2 golden long swords flashing with sharp edges, wrapped in sharp metallic aura, stabbed forward fiercely. Puff, puff. Passing through the smoke from the burning fire, the 2 golden swords pierced Zhou Chengyai's legs at an unstoppable speed without any surprise. The position was extremely tricky, piercing directly through the kneecap and nailing it to the ground. Even Zhou Chengyai, who was determined, couldn't help but howl in pain at this moment. His eyes were like a ferocious beast, staring at the people in front of him. The 2 golden sword talismans crippled his legs and made him unable to get up from the ground. Even his magic power was exhausted at this time, and his old body collapsed to the ground, with scars left by the burning all over his body, and the stab wounds made him bleed profusely. The head of the Zhou family was unable to resist the siege of many 9th-level Qi refining masters, and he was still exhausted. But his eyes were still as dark as the abyss, and the strong hatred condensed into substance, as if he wanted to tear the person in front of him to pieces. The noise of the battle eventually attracted the attention of other masters. The dark and silent Shenlin mountain was gradually broken, and lights began to light up. There were tribesmen rushing here. Looking at the situation outside the cave, Zhou Chengyai's eyes fluctuated slightly, as if he saw countless tribesmen rushing to the sea of fire. He opened and closed his mouth slightly, as if he wanted to stop them, but the loss of a large amount of blood had made him unable to move, and his vicious and hateful eyes gradually dimmed. In the end, he only saw a young man walk out of the enemy and ordered in an extremely calm voice, "Sixth Elder, you are responsible for cleaning up these small fish, leaving a few core members, and killing the rest." With despair and unwillingness, Zhou Chengyai's consciousness slowly sank, and he could no longer see the scene in front of him. Only the voice in his ear remained. "Master. Grandpa, are you okay? Who is it?" "Ah, bastard, the massacre has begun." The killing that did not happen in Tanchai Mountain finally appeared in Shenlin Mountain a year later. The 6th elder of the Qi family stood alone, holding a flaming blade, and slashed at the Zhou family members around him. The raging fire made the entire deep forest mountain glow with fire, and the smell of blood filled the air. At this moment, the Zhou family members already knew what had happened. An unknown enemy broke into the deep forest mountain. The head of the Zhou family was attacked. His life or death was uncertain, and the enemy started a massacre. Every word was like a cold blade, cutting open the heart of every Zhou family member, and rudely tearing open the wound that had been gradually healed. Chapter 182 Massacre. First it was Tanchai Mountain, then Shenlin Mountain. Two consecutive disasters crushed the Zhou family, which had been passed down for 100 years. Looking at the sky full of flames and the blood flowing like a river, an elderly Zhou family monk fell to the ground, howling and roaring to the sky, and the sad cry echoed in this land. "Why are you so unfair? My Zhou family has fallen to such a point, why don't you let us go?" God wants to destroy my Zhou family. God wants to destroy my family. Goddamn God, you all deserve to die. All deserve to die. Despair and anger filled everyone's heart. Death may not be terrible at this moment, because people's hearts have been scattered, beliefs have been destroyed, and there is no greater sorrow than the death of the heart. A large number of clansmen came forward one after another, but it had no effect at all. Just a strong man in the early 9th level killed them and made them bleed like a river. Zhou Daocheng still held the last hope. His fat body ran in Shenlin Mountain, trying his best to launch a huge crossbow. This is the second level magic weapon that the Zhou family has spent all their efforts to create, the giant ridge bow. Zhou Daocheng was sweating profusely, his clothes were soaked with sweat, his pupils were full of bloodshot, and his honest face was full of ferocity and determination at the moment. He input all his spiritual energy into the magic weapon almost without reservation, trying to activate this second level magic weapon with the cultivation of the 7th level of weapon refining. Because of his talent, the current situation faced by the Zhou family can only be completely reversed by this magic weapon with power comparable to that of a foundation building master. When he transferred all his spiritual energy to the giant ridge bow, the entire magic weapon emitted a strong light, and a terrifying aura spread instantly. At this moment, the chief family cultivators also immediately sensed the crisis of death, like a sharp sword directly at their eyebrows, and would take their lives in the next moment. What is this? 6th Elder, be careful, it's another terrible second level magic weapon. Hide in the cave quickly, such a terrifying power, it's worthy of being an old family with 100 years of inheritance. The foundation is really rich. The Zhou family members who were kneeling and crying seemed to see hope at this moment, and their eyes all looked over. Relying on his in-depth understanding of magic weapons, Zhou Daocheng actually used the strength of the 7th level of Qi refining to reveal the edge of the giant ridge bow. However, in the hopeful eyes of the Zhou family members, and the terrified eyes of the Qi family. After Zhou Daocheng transferred all the spiritual energy in his body, he finally knelt on the ground with a snap. And the giant ridge bow in front of him, after just a slight flash of light, dimmed again. Even though he has excellent talent and a deep understanding of the principles of magic weapons, he is only a cultivator of the 7th level of Qi refining after all. Not to mention the 7th level of Qi refining, even if a strong man of the 9th level of Qi refining came, it is highly likely that he would not be able to use this heavy weapon by himself. Zhou Daocheng clenched his teeth and fell to the ground in despair. His fat body seemed to be drained at this moment. At the same time, the hope of all Zhou family members was also drained. The Qi family hiding in the cave was stunned when they saw this scene. Then they burst into sharp laughter. Ha ha ha, look at that fat guy. He wants to activate the 2nd level magic weapon with this little strength. It's really funny. Damn, dog, I was so scared, but in the end he turned out to be a wimp. TSK, TSK, TSK. They even specially launched a 2nd level magic weapon for us. The Zhou family is really good people. Indeed, I have decided to kill only the male cultivators of the Zhou family, and take the female cultivators back for breeding. Breeding? With his Zhou family's garbage bloodline, is it worthy of combining with my Qi family? It's just polluting our bloodline. Hee, then don't take it back, just sell it on the way. It's also a sum of spirit stones. The deepest evil and desire of human nature, vented unscrupulously at this moment, is aggression and massacre, without any humanity. When one side has an absolute advantage, the status of the two sides is no longer equal. If one side is a human, The other side is a livestock. The sharp ridicule of the Qi family cultivator pierced the heart of every member of the Zhou family. Qi Yunzhi also looked fierce and said, "Elders, please act as soon as possible. Don't kill those who can be sold first, and don't leave any men alive. There is also a 9th level Qi refining strongman. Go and get rid of him first to prevent future troubles." "No problem, but you have to kill the fat man first, and the 2nd level magic weapon can't be damaged." As he spoke, a 9th level Qi refining warrior stepped forward, sneered at Zhou Daocheng, who was lying on the ground, and was about to end his life. As a member of the Zhou family, seeing this scene, he gritted his teeth and tried his best to stop it. Since coming to Shenlin Mountain, all the Zhou family members have reached a consensus, that is, the Dao generation of the Zhou family will be the hope of the future. Especially Zhou Daobai, Zhou Daocheng, and Zhou Daocheng. Everyone understands that they are the future, the inheritance, and the hope of the final rise. An elderly Zhou family member rushed forward with all his strength. When the blade fell, he fearlessly pounced on the Qi family monk. Using his own flesh and blood, he hugged the blade, allowing his body to be cut, and did not step back. The Qi family elder did not react much, but just laughed coldly, then lifted the figure, and then chopped it down again. Then another figure, with bright red blood, bloomed in the air. Zhou Daocheng, who was lying on the ground helplessly, stared blankly at the warm corpse lying on him, with hot blood covering his body, so hot, but so cold. The hatred in his pupils was buried at this moment, leaving only a blank look, looking at the familiar face in front of him without focus. Thinking seemed to stop at this moment. The Qi family monks were not in a hurry to kill Zhou Daocheng, and seemed to enjoy the pleasure of playing with human lives, casually hacking and killing the Zhou family members who rushed over. "TSK, TSK, TSK, I didn't expect there would be such a good thing. Someone actually threw himself on the knife." "Forget it, don't play, kill them all," someone reminded. "Whatever, die, dead fat man." Then, just as his voice fell, a voice as cold as a cold blade came from behind. "Beasts, you deserve to die." In an instant, the temperature in the air seemed to drop, as if falling into a cold pond. Under the eyes of everyone, a slender figure slowly walked from a distance. In the firelight, the shadow was extremely long, with a strong sense of oppression and deterrence. "This is Daobai? Daobai, go, you are at the 9th level of Qi refining, they will never catch you. Hurry up and find Daocheng, and save the fire for my Zhou family." The deterrence. This is Daobai. Remaining clansmen, the moment they saw Zhou Daobai appear, their demise ignited with light. The hoarse roars continued to sound, constantly urging Zhou Daobai to leave. This is what they did not notice. Zhou Daobai, who had an elegant face, had his eyes dyed blood red at this moment. The murderous intent in his eyes condensed into substance, and the violent aura spread out, like a ferocious beast. At the same time, there was his obscure and powerful aura. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183. Zhou Daobai builds his foundation. You are the remaining 9th level Qi refining. An elder of the Qi family just opened his mouth to speak, but in the next second, a pair of fists suddenly attacked, piercing through the heart directly, and tore the body apart with the power of the explosion alone. Qi Yunzhi saw this scene, his pupils suddenly contracted, and he stepped back in horror. At the same time, he screamed, "Foundation building powerhouse!" After more than half a year, Zhou Daobai has been in seclusion and practicing, trying to break through the level that everyone dreams of. But there is always a threshold blocking the way. Even if it is infinitely close to breaking through, it can never break through the last layer of membrane. Just now, the bloody smell and roar of Shenlin Mountain entered his brain, stimulating every nerve. Feeling the death of one tribe member after another, it seems that the most important thing in life is disappearing. The originally calm mood was disturbed at this moment, and it was at this moment that he seemed to have found the most fundamental purpose of becoming stronger. He needed stronger strength. the power to protect everything, the qualification to bear all the burdens, and more importantly, to take over the inheritance from his ancestors and restore the glory of the family. At the last moment, he successfully broke through and reached the foundation building. Not good. Everyone retreat quickly. This person just broke through the foundation building. Along with the horrified shouts of the chief family, Zhou Daocheng stepped forward, murderous intent emerged in his eyes, and killed the chief family without hesitation. At this moment, even the 9th level foundation building strongman had no ability to resist at all, and was slapped to the ground with a slap, seriously injured. At the critical moment, Qi Yunhe looked at the slap that came, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Zhou Daocheng took the lead in dealing with the 9th level Qi refining strongman. With just 3 slaps, 3 people were seriously injured and lying on the ground unable to move. And just when the slap hit the 4th person, the 3rd elder of the Qi family, who was the strongest, actually took out a talisman from his arms. Then, with Zhou Daocheng frowning, he threw it forward fiercely. 2nd level talismans? Zhou Daocheng had never thought that these people actually had 2nd level talismans. The weakest 2nd level talisman was equivalent to a full strength attack from a 2nd level cultivator. He had just broken through, and his realm was not even stable yet, so it was difficult to resist. Zhou Daocheng quickly retreated after just a moment of thinking. But it was just this moment of opportunity. The 3rd elder of the Qi family gritted his teeth, grabbed Qi Yunhe next to him, and quickly fled to the deep forest. After only a few dozen meters, a cold voice came from behind. Killing my Zhou family members and invading my Zhou family's residence. Do you want to leave like this? The 3rd elder of the Qi family had a ferocious face. Senior, why are you so aggressive? I just broke through the foundation building. If you kill us, you will not have a good result. Zhou Daocheng sneered. Aggressive? How dare you say this? As he said that, he quickly moved forward at a rapid speed, trying to quickly get rid of the 2 people. Seeing that the other party was unwilling to stop, Qi Yunhe, who was held in his arms, cruelly took out a bottle of pills from his arms. He said, 3rd elder, this is the 2nd level speed pill my father gave me. Taking it can reach the speed of the foundation building. Seeing this, the 3rd elder's eyes suddenly lit up and quickly stuffed it into his mouth. As the medicinal power was quickly absorbed, the speed of the Qi family elder increased rapidly, and in an instant he reached the foundation building level. Zhou Daocheng's face was calm. With a 2nd level pill, could he really escape from the hands of a foundation building strongman? The time that the medicinal power can last is at most a quarter of an hour. Once this time is over, the 2 will surely die. Just as Zhou Daocheng wanted to chase and kill, Zhou Daocheng's weak voice came from behind. Don't chase, big brother, the head of the family. And the clansman. This call also made Zhou Daocheng, who was furious, regain some rationality. After taking a deep breath, he finally stopped, turning his head to look at the fire all over the mountain, a scene of corpses everywhere and blood flowing like a river. His heart felt like a huge weight was pressing down on him. He slammed his palm on the ground and clenched his teeth tightly. If I had broken through earlier, how could this happen? It's a pity that changes in the world can't be as people wish. Zhou Daocheng looked at the devastation, and there were not many tribesmen left. At Tima Mountain, the family lost 3 elders and dozens of tribesmen. When buying the foundation building pill, almost all the elders lived and most of the elderly tribesmen were sacrificed. And today's massacre almost dug up the roots of the Zhou family, slaughtering all the Chang, Shao, and some of the older Dao generations. Now, there are only a few Shao and the younger Dao generations left. Looking around, there are not even 10 living tribesmen. Zhou Daocheng walked up to Zhou Daocheng, looked at his 4th brother who was buried deep under the bodies of the tribesmen with dull eyes, and slowly pulled him out. The chubby Zhou Daocheng was not injured under the protection of the tribesmen, but his pupils were like those of a dead person, without any light. Brother, the head of the family, don't worry, leave it to me. As the pillar of everyone present, Zhou Daocheng showed a mature enough mind. He took out the remaining pills in the storehouse and distributed them all to the few remaining masters for healing. At the same time, he gathered all the seriously injured and dying tribesmen together for unified treatment. Fortunately, The tribe leader Zhou Daocheng was seriously injured, but he did not die. It was just that his legs were nailed to the ground, and he had fainted early due to excessive bleeding, and now he was unconscious. When Zhou Daocheng gathered all the surviving masters together, he found that there were only 13 of them. 1 was from the Chang generation, 3 were from the Shao generation, and 9 were from the Dao generation. "Brother, what should we do next?" Zhou Daocheng asked weakly. Zhou Daocheng's eyes were heavy. "We can't stay in Shenlan Mountain anymore. This force can easily send out 4 9th-level Qi refining masters. They must have foundation building masters and will definitely come again. Moreover, I have already felt that the second level monster nearby is ready to move. If we don't leave, things will be even more troublesome." Zhou Daocheng frowned and said, "Even if you break through to the foundation building stage, you can stabilize the situation." "I can stabilize it. But the Zhou family can't stabilize it." A trace of sadness appeared in Zhou Daocheng's eyes. Zhou Daocheng was stunned, and then he understood what his brother meant. What they want is not only foundation building masters, but also peace. They need a stable and safe environment to restore the vitality of the Zhou family, not another war. If another master dies, the Zhou family will be completely wiped out. And Shenlan Mountain is no longer safe. On the one hand, there are enemies who have found this place, and no one can be sure whether they will come again. On the other hand, there are second-level monsters around, which threaten the lives of the tribe members at all times, and they dare not let go and develop. Chapter 184 Looking for Zhou Daocheng. Finally, the environment in Deep Forest Mountain is not good. There are no barriers, no dangerous areas, and it is not even suitable for setting up formations. Therefore, the enemy would approach easily and directly behead the family leader. After some discussion, the two finally found that there was only one way ahead of them: to continue changing the family location, find an area that is safer and more suitable for family development. Zhou Daocheng thought thoughtfully and said, "Daocheng, I'm going to Bailin Lake to ask Daocheng for any good advice. For the time being, you can stay here with your tribe and wait for news from me." Zhou Daocheng knew there was no better way, so he nodded helplessly. A strong foundation builder travels extremely fast, far beyond the ability of a Qi refining monk. The journey from Deep Forest Mountain to Bailin Lake originally took more than 10 days, but Zhou Daocheng only spent 5 days. Unfortunately, Zhou Daocheng did not find Zhou Daocheng in the White Scale Valley. After all, at this moment, Zhou Daocheng had already gone to Wugu to guard the development of Wuyifang City. What's even more troublesome is that Zhao Yunzhi and others don't know the location of Wugu at all. Strictly speaking, they had no idea what Zhou Daocheng was doing recently, and Zhou Daocheng rarely mentioned it to others. Zhao Yunzhi only knew that Zhou Daocheng should have gone further east to make some secret plans. Regarding this, Zhou Daocheng also had a headache. His sixth brother has become more and more mysterious now. It is like a dragon that disappears without seeing its head. It is difficult to even meet him. In desperation, Zhou Daocheng could only investigate by himself and find out what happened recently in the east. By asking some casual cultivators, he really learned some things. To the east, a strong man named Master Wugu gathered a group of powerful casual cultivators to carve out a pure land in the wilderness and build a brand new city called Wuyifang City. It is said that the resources there are more abundant. So many monks who were originally near Beifang City have gone to Wuyifang City to look for opportunities. Zhou Daocheng frowned slightly, lowered his head and murmured to himself, "Master Wugu, Xinfang City. I didn't expect such a thing to happen." It seems that Daocheng went to Xinfang City to look for opportunities. I don't know if I can find him. Thinking of what happened to his family, Zhou Daocheng only thought for a moment, and finally embarked on his journey. Under the guidance of the casual cultivators, we headed towards the foggy valley in the east. 7 days later, a mountain range completely shrouded in thick fog appeared in front of him. Although Wuyifang City is not that big, the entire Wugu mountain range is quite large, and it is completely shrouded in fog, mysterious and vast. Zhou Daocheng just glanced at it and felt a heart-stopping threat from the thick fog in front of him. What a terrifying formation! Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but sigh. Even though he had broken through to the foundation building, he could still feel that if he fell into this endless fog, he would most likely die. What shocked he even more was that a newly established Xinfang city actually had such a rich heritage and was protected by a powerful second-level formation. There is even a high probability that it is not the second-level low grade, but the quality reaches the second-level mid-grade, or even the top grade. After sighing, Zhou Daocheng followed the other casual cultivators, followed the passage of Wu Yifang city, and walked into the mountain shrouded in mist. The closer he got here, the more bustling he found. A large number of casual monks gathered nearby, creating a lively atmosphere. Many powerful teams of casual cultivators are hunting monsters and beasts in this area. There are competitions between them, and there are also conflicts and fights. There are also many small families and small forces that cooperate with each other, compete with each other, and compete with casual cultivators for living space. This is a new land, full of hope and vitality, especially after entering Wu Yifang city. The number of people here was more than he imagined. Although it was a mini Fang city in name, the actual number of people was no less than that of a small Fang city. This also made Zhou Daocheng curious about what kind of charm it was that allowed this city hidden in the wild mountains to attract so many monks. But regarding this issue, Zhou Daocheng really misunderstood. In the ordinary city, most monks come and go, and there are not too many people who stay there for a long time. But the situation in Wu Yifang city is very special, because in addition to the square market in the first valley, there are also caves and spiritual fields in the second valley. Therefore, there are many casual cultivator teams and families that have almost taken root in Wu Yifang city, so there is a lot of traffic coming and going. But this also made Wu Yifang city more lively and full of vitality. It only opened for more than 10 days and attracted a large number of monks. Even in the past few days, the popularity has far surpassed that of Beifang city, and its reputation is getting bigger and bigger. Zhou Daocheng's eyes moved slightly, and he looked at the city shrouded in mist before him, with a large number of exquisite buildings and various shops standing there. The sounds of hawking and noise were endless, and he couldn't help but feel a trace of yearning in his heart. It would be a wonderful thing if the Zhou family could develop here. The location here is remote enough, almost an isolated cultivation circle, and the Zhou family can completely start over here. Moreover, it is safe enough here. On the one hand, the natural environment is safe, and the powerful formation is enough to block the invasion of monsters and enemy attacks. On the other hand, it is the safety of competition. He has discovered that most of the forces here are just chi refining forces, and there are no powerful foundation building forces. Moreover, many small families and forces, just like the Zhou family today, were forced to flee here and start over after suffering the disaster of annihilation. Therefore, the seemingly weak Zhou family is not weak here. On the contrary, under the leadership of Zhou Daocheng, it is already considered a very powerful force. I don't know how Daocheng is doing. If we can take over the family, it will indeed be a good place for development. Zhou Daocheng murmured to himself with emotion as he walked on the street. However, when he reached the end of Fangxi, he saw that in the deepest part, there was actually a passage shrouded in fog and guarded by powerful monks. Hey, why is there a passage here? Isn't there just one valley? Zhou Daocheng was quite curious. After finding a casual cultivator and briefly asking, he understood the situation clearly, and then he was deeply shocked again. There really is a second valley, and it contains first-order high-grade spiritual energy, and you can buy and rent spiritual fields and caves to provide settlement for small families and small forces. If you are strong, you can also directly cooperate with the senior management of Foggy Valley. Every word struck Zhou Daocheng's heart deeply. He seemed to have seen a paradise, a land that was completely suitable for the development of the Zhou family. Chapter 185 The legendary Lord of the Fog Valley. At this moment, he seemed to have made a decision in his heart. No matter what, he had to move his family here. As for the agreement with Wu Gu, there was no need to sign a contract to sell himself, but it was still possible to rent for a few years. After settling down, he would first find a piece of land with spiritual veins near Wu Gu and then settle down. Thinking of this, Zhou Daocheng also made up his mind and walked into the passage connecting the second mountain pass. However, the seemingly ordinary clouds and mists surged slightly at this moment, as if controlled by a mysterious big hand. Zhou Daocheng had a slight sense and was vaguely aware of the subtle changes around him. But he didn't know why. It wasn't until he walked for a quarter of an hour and still didn't walk out of the clouds and mist that his expression changed drastically, and he looked up at the sky in horror. Is this already trapped in the formation? Zhou Daocheng looked around. Looking forward was a thick cloud and mist, and looking back was still hazy mist. The surroundings were silent, as if there were no living creatures. Realizing his situation, Zhou Daocheng was a little flustered, but he did not lose his composure. Instead, he cupped his hands and said loudly, "May I ask if you are the owner of Wugu Market?" "I am Zhou Daocheng. I have no ill intentions in coming here this time. Please make way for me, senior." As the voice fell, after a calm of more than 10 seconds, the surrounding clouds and mist suddenly began to disperse. At this time, Zhou Daocheng was surprised to find that he had already left the original passage and walked into a complex terrain. The surrounding rocks were jagged and the valley was completely invisible. At this time, he suddenly saw a vague figure walking out of the distant clouds and mist. A purple robe was shrouded in clouds and mist, and the bronze mask was mysterious. The surrounding clouds and mist seemed to see the owner, like a dragon, surrounding this person. Zhou Daocheng did not dare to be careless, and arched his hands vigilantly. "Are you the Lord of Fog Valley?" "I am Zhou Daocheng, and I am polite." The purple-robed man walked slowly, but did not speak. Under the cover of the bronze mask, the expression on his face could not be seen. Suddenly, the scene was silent, until the two were several meters apart. Zhou Daocheng had already tightened his muscles and looked at the person in front of him with extreme vigilance. The purple-robed man stopped and slowly said, "Brother, long time no see." After the voice fell, there was silence. No sound was made, only Zhou Daocheng's sluggish expression remained, and he suddenly looked up at the person in front of him, just staring at the same person under the bronze mask. The familiar eyes met at this moment. Zhou Daocheng felt unbelievable, and he did not come back to his senses for a long time. Finally, he just asked tentatively, Who are you?" Zhou Daocheng smiled faintly, reached out to take off the bronze mask on his face, and a familiar face appeared in front of Zhou Daocheng. It was still the same sentence, "Big brother, long time no see." When he really saw the familiar face, Zhou Daocheng also immediately let go of his guard and exhaled a long breath. Then, a slap hit Zhou Daocheng on the forehead. He cursed angrily, "You dog thing, pretends to be a dog egg." Zhou Daocheng's mouth twitched. This was the first time he heard his big brother curse his mother. He immediately knew that something was wrong. He hurriedly wanted to hide, but the next moment, his forehead was burning and he grimaced in pain. Fortunately, Zhou Daocheng didn't want to play with Zhou Daocheng. He just taught him a simple lesson and stopped his actions. Zhou Daocheng was also helpless. It was just a simple joke. He didn't expect that his big brother would take it seriously. He really couldn't afford it. "Big brother, how did you come here?" "And your breath, this is a breakthrough," Zhou Daocheng asked, his face full of surprise. In fact, when Zhou Daocheng entered the formation, he had already sensed the breath of a strong foundation-building cultivator. When he found out that the person was his elder brother, he was even more surprised. After half a year, his elder brother, who was extremely talented, had actually broken through to the foundation-building stage. This also means that the Zhou family has now completely restored the foundation-building heritage and become a powerful foundation-building family. It also means that there is one more powerful foundation-building cultivator behind Zhou Daocheng. Zhou Daocheng slightly, acknowledging the fact that he had broken through. Then he looked at the young man in front of him again, with an even stronger look of surprise in his eyes. "Daocheng, are you the legendary young master Wugu?" Zhou Daocheng touched his nose and said, "If there is no accident, it should be me." "Did you build the Wugu market?" "I guess so." "Are you the owner here?" "I guess so." Zhou Daocheng took a breath of cold air. He had only been in seclusion for a while, but he didn't expect that his sixth brother would do so many incredible things. All the rumors he had heard along the way were unexpectedly about his younger brother, which really made him a little unbelievable. "It's really hard to imagine, hard to imagine." Zhou Daocheng just smiled at Zhou Daocheng's surprise and said, "Brother, No need to say more, let's go back to the valley and talk. The second valley I was going to before? Zhou Daocheng showed a mysterious smile. No, it's the third valley, the one that is not open to the public. With just a light flick of his hand, the clouds in front of him dissipated directly, and a road leading directly to the third valley appeared in front of him. Zhou Daobai was also quite surprised to see such a powerful method. After just a few minutes of walking, the two of them directly entered the third valley. Instantly, the concentration of spiritual energy reaching the second level came to Zhou Daobai, making him feel refreshed. The concentration of spiritual energy here is so high, Zhou Daocheng said casually. Of course, this is a second-level superior formation. If you need it, I will help you arrange a cave with a first-level superior spiritual energy concentration. Zhou Daobai slightly and found that the environment in the valley was very beautiful, surrounded by towering peaks. Lush trees grew on the cliffs, many of which were precious spiritual trees and flowers, growing vigorously in the misty spiritual energy. The ground of the valley was also covered with green grass, looking full of vitality. Moreover, he actually saw a beautiful little snake here. After seeing him come in, it was hiding behind a stone vigilantly, spitting out its tongue and looking in his direction. Afterwards, at Zhou Daocheng's call, the little snake slowly swam out and wrapped around Zhou Daocheng's legs. Still looking at Zhou Daobai vigilantly. Is this the spirit beast you raised? Well, this fog valley was once occupied by 3 mirage pythons. I organized a group of casual cultivators to clean up this place and used it as the settlement of the market town. I also kept the descendants of the 3 mirage pythons as spirit beasts. If I guess correctly, this should be a second-level demon beast, right? Zhou Daobai asked. Chapter 186 Second Migration. Yes, there is a certain probability of breaking through to the second level. TSK, sixth brother, you hit it deep enough. Zhou Daocheng smiled. He actually had no intention of hiding these secrets. Including the matter of Wu Yifeng City. He originally planned to inform the family head in the near future, and at the same time shift the Zhou family's development focus to the city. However, before he could return to his family, Zhou Daobai found him. By the way, brother, why do you come to see me when you have time? How is the family doing? Zhou Daocheng asked. But as soon as he finished speaking, Zhou Daobai's face turned dark to the naked eye. Even there is a hint of murderous intent and gloom. Seeing this situation, Zhou Daocheng seemed to have guessed something. He quickly put away his smile and asked in a low voice, is there an accident? Not bad. Zhou Daobai nodded slightly, his expression cold and deep. Go back to my cave first and let's have a good chat. Zhou Daocheng did not dare to be careless, restrained his joking, and hurriedly took his eldest brother Zhou Daobai back to the cave. Zhou Daobai did not hide anything, but told everything that happened in the family. Originally, Zhou Daobai did not want to hand over these responsibilities to Zhou Daocheng, but just wanted to ask him if there was an area suitable for the family's development. However, after seeing Zhou Daocheng's background, Zhou Daobai naturally knew in his heart that his sixth brother was no longer the child he once was, but the master of Wugu who truly stood firm and made a name for himself. That's why he was willing to share these heavy things with Zhou Daocheng. When he heard what happened in his family, Zhou Daocheng's expression instantly became solemn, with a hint of anger emerging. The Tanchai Mountain Zhou family, a large foundation-building family with hundreds of immortal cultivators, only had 13 members left after suffering 2 disasters in succession! Even if the tribesmen from Balan Lake are included, there are only about 20 tribesmen left. This is no longer just abjection, but close to genocide. And among the 20 or so people, some of them were like Zhu Qingyan, an old generation with the name Chang watching them. There is also a large number of children of the Tao generation who are not yet underage. If it weren't for the support of Zhou Daobai, Zhou Daocheng, and Zhou Diki, the Zhou family, which has been passed down for hundreds of years, might really be lost in the long river of history. Zhou Daocheng's voice was gloomy. Brother, do you know the identity of the person coming? Zhou Daobai shook his head and said, I don't know. When they attacked Shenlin Mountain, they did not carry any identified items. But according to my estimation, they should be monks from a powerful force, possessing many elixirs and talismans, and even it's a second-level talisman. Zhou Daocheng frowned slightly and couldn't help but feel troubled. Zhou Daobai continued to add, at the same time, I am also wondering whether someone has leaked the location of Deep Forest Mountain. Logically speaking, the location of Shenlin Mountain is concealed enough, and we are very careful not to let the Ma family and Chen family catch us. Why are we still found by the enemy? Regarding this doubt, Zhou Daocheng just thought about it for a while and finally understood the reason. So he shook his head and said, "Brother, there is no need to doubt this matter. The hiding work we did is actually not as good as imagined." What's the meaning? Between Danchai Mountain and Shenlin Mountain, we did hide well enough without leaving any traces, but what about between Bailin Lake and Shenlin Mountain? This sentence completely awakened Zhou Daobai. After his eyes changed several times, he nodded slightly. It is indeed possible that we were careless after all. Zhou Daocheng lowered his eyes and did not dwell too much on how to expose Deep Forest Mountain. Instead, he asked, "Then what are you going to do next according to Big Brother's wishes?" "We can no longer stay in Deep Forest Mountain. The family needs a new location. I want to ask your opinion." Zhou Daocheng thought for a while, but did not respond immediately, but continued to ask, "Brother, how many mortals are left in the Zhou family?" Zhou Daobai said with a gloomy expression, "There isn't much left. First, at the foot of Danchai Mountain, half of them were massacred by the Chen and Ma families because they did not evacuate in time. Afterwards, during the migration process, a small number died. In the end, not many actually moved to the Deep Forest Mountains. Finally, in the Deep Forest Mountain, due to the huge changes in climate and environment, some mortals of the Zhou family could not adapt to the climate, and they also died one after another. At the same time, some died at the mouths of monsters. Total calculation now, there should be less than 20,000 Zhou family mortals in total." Although this was very bad news, Zhou Daocheng was not particularly sad. Because if the Zhou family members were to be relocated, the most troublesome problem would be mortals. There are many mortals in the Zhou family and their strength is declining, so it is very troublesome to transfer them, and their resettlement is also a big trouble. After Zhou Daocheng considered it for a moment, he said, "Brother, how do you think the mortals of the Zhou family should deal with it?" Zhou Daobai was slightly startled, and said matter-of-factly, "Of course he will move with us." Then, if another group of people die during the transfer, and if another group of people die due to acclimatization after settling down, how many people will be left? Zhou Daobai was stunned and couldn't answer for a while. If we go through this again, the remaining mortals who are less than 20,000 may really die. Moreover, neither White Scale Lake nor Foggy Valley is actually suitable for relocating Zhou family mortals. The reason why Bailin Lake was safe and sound was largely due to the protection of the Shanhai sect. Once the Zhou family mortals migrated here, everything would be exposed. The same is true for Wugu. It is very important to hide your identity. Once the Zhou family's enemies know it, they will definitely target Wugu. Now it is already very difficult to face Beifang City alone. If several other foundation building forces are added, things will only be more troublesome. And thinking about this, Zhou Daocheng already has some understanding of the forces that attack the Zhou family. The only family that can know the relationship between Bailin Lake and the Zhou family is the Moyan Shanqi family. 6th, brother, what are you going to do? Zhou Daocheng said, all the Zhou family's immortal cultivators will be transferred to the Mist Valley. We will start over here. With my protection, everything will be fine. And after you break through, our development will only be smoother. As for the mortals, let's stay in Shenlin Mountain and destroy the spiritual veins directly, so that they can live a stable life there. Zhou Daobai's face changed slightly. He had never thought of this bold decision, even a rebellious decision. Is this really appropriate? If a hostile force finds Shenlin Mountain again, they may directly destroy all the Zhou family's mortals. Then, take a gamble. Chapter 187. The Zhou family moves into the Fog Valley. I bet the other party won't be so crazy and kill 20,000 mortals without any benefit. Zhou Daocheng's eyes were cold and he continued calmly, moreover, We can leave a photographic stone in a secret place. If the other party really goes on a killing spree, we can also use this to find them, and even use this as our most powerful means of revenge. After saying this, Zhou Daocheng took a deep breath and glanced at himself as his sixth brother. After a long silence, he finally let out a helpless breath and said, "Sixth brother, you are more cruel than me. This is our best option. Then, do as you say." The next period of time, Zhou Daocheng was still stationed in Wugu, while Zhou Daocheng became busy, on the one hand, try to clean up the monsters near the deep forest mountain as much as possible to ensure the safety of the mortals of the Zhou family. On the other hand, the remaining 13 tribesmen began to be transferred. First, they were all sent to the underwater cave in Bailin Lake, and then the head of the family, Zhou Qingyai, arranged which ones would go to Foggy Valley. Zhou Qingyai did not die in the sneak attack and was forcibly rescued in the end, but now his legs are disabled and he can only sit in a wheelchair. After learning about Zhou Daocheng's breakthrough in foundation building and what Zhou Daocheng had done in the past year, the elderly head of the Zhou family burst into tears. To be reborn in the face of death and to bloom hope in the face of despair is the greatest comfort. The Yunzhi generation, the Qianxi generation, and the Zhao Yunzhi generation have all been destroyed by disasters, but the Dao generation has truly produced several great talents for the ZTE. The scepter of the family's destiny has been officially handed over at this moment, and the big ship of the Zhou family has begun to be controlled by the Dao family. Where the road will go from now on is still unclear. However, after learning about Zhou Daocheng and Zhou Daocheng's plan, Zhou Qingyai just remained silent for a moment, and after distinguishing the pros and cons, he chose to fully support it. Regarding the arrangements of ordinary mortals, he understood Zhou Daocheng's thoughts after only listening to a few words, and marveled at the cruelty and decisiveness of his eldest grandson. But at this moment, the Zhou family really has no better way out. For the sake of a better future, even if we directly abandon these 20,000 Zhou family mortals, it would still be okay. What Zhou Qingyai has to do next is to leave a group of people in Bailin Lake, and then select a group of people to go to Foggy Valley. The selection of personnel is actually very important. Again, eggs cannot be put in one basket, otherwise, if the nest is overturned, how can there be any eggs? If the Zhou family had not transferred a group of clan members to Bailin Lake before, perhaps the current situation would have been even worse. After careful consideration, Zhou Qingyai decided to send most of the tribesmen with strong strength and special skills to Wugu. In Bailin Lake, only the children who have not yet grown up and a few old men who teach them are left. All the weapon refiners, as well as the tribesmen who have reached the late stage of qi refining, all go to Foggy Valley. A total of 9 people include Zhou Daocheng, a strong foundation builder. The 6 weapon refining masters also include Zhou Daocheng, who has the highest level of weapon refining in the family today. And 2 clansmen who are in the late stage of qi refining. The strength is definitely not strong. If Zhou Daocheng is not included, there will not even be a strong person at the 9th level of qi refining. Not to mention compared with the foundation building forces, even the forces under Zhou Daocheng were dozens of times that of the Zhou family today. But this is now all the vitality of the Zhou family, all invested in Wugu. Zhou Qingyai also believed that under the protection of Zhou Daocheng and Zhou Daocheng, the safety of these tribesmen would be guaranteed and their development prospects would be better. The next few days were spent escorting the tribe to Foggy Valley. Along the way, with the protection of Zhou Daocheng, a strong foundation builder, everything was safe. After arriving in Wuyifang City, Zhou Daocheng had already arranged a place for them. Let the Zhou family members establish cooperation with Wugu as a small down and out weapon refining family, similar to the previous Little Dan Pavilion and Wang family. At the same time, a large and well-located shop was also arranged for the Zhou family members to sell magical artifacts. With Zhou Daocheng's support, the entire magical artifact industry in Fang City will be handed over to the Zhou family, and the family will surely develop rapidly. At the same time, a part of the spiritual field and cave mansion were also allocated in the second valley. Generally speaking, in order to prevent attracting other people's attention, the discounts and benefits provided by Zhou Daocheng are similar to those of Xiadan Pavilion and Wang family. Not too much, not too little. Moreover, the appearance of the Zhou family also made up for the lack of weapon refining power in Fang City, making the structure of the entire Wugu Fang City more complete. A market that can stably supply magic weapons, elixirs, talismans, formations, and spiritual beasts is extremely rare even within the entire Qingshan sect. Although the quality is relatively low, it is completely enough for the monks around Wugufang City. Both the Wugufang City and the Zhou family, which has restarted development, are gradually getting on the right track, relying on the Wugu Mountains to recuperate and continue to grow and develop. But in terms of the overall environment, the crisis has not been resolved. As a large number of monks flowed into Wugufang City, the development of Beifang City was greatly suppressed, and the income of the 5 major forces was greatly reduced. Faced with such competition, how could they stand by and let the benefits flow to Wugufang City? They didn't take action at the moment. They were just waiting for the opportunity. It was like the calm before the storm. As long as the opportunity came, there would be a violent storm in an instant. Zhou Daocheng knew it in his heart and was always prepared. After the last confrontation, Zhou Daocheng believed that the 5 forces had already known the power of the formation and could not invade Wugu Market again. If they wanted to target Wugu Market, they could only think of other ways. There were not many ways left for Bay Market. Bay Market could use more favorable prices and more attractive natural treasures to attract cultivators back to Bay Market. But this method was too difficult and almost impossible to succeed, because Wugu Market had the 2 trump cards of formation and spiritual beast, which Bay Market could not satisfy. What's more, the location of Wugu Market was naturally superior to Bay Market close to the East Great Wilderness Vein, so it had more abundant monster beast resources and natural treasures. Moreover, the area around Wugu had never been developed, and there might be undiscovered spiritual veins hidden, which would naturally attract more cultivators. So, if Bay Market wanted to compete with Wugu, there was only one way left: suppression. If it is not possible to attract the monks back, then use your powerful strength to destroy the top leaders of Wugu Market, or replace them. An open and covert struggle between the top leaders of the 2 markets has been gradually unfolding. Only 3 months later, bad news reached Zhou Daocheng's ears. Chapter 188, Beifang City's targeting. First, a strong man of the 9th level of qi refining appeared in the market and caused trouble. With his powerful strength, he injured many of the garrison personnel in the market. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help frowning at this news. Now, the garrison personnel in Wugu Market are all strong men of the 9th level of weapon refining. It is really embarrassing that they were crushed and injured by the other party at the same level. However, it is understandable that apart from the rich experience in hunting monsters, the abilities of casual cultivators in other aspects are not as good as those of powerful cultivators. The quality of cultivation techniques, the strength of condensed magic power, the spells learned, the magic tools, talismans and pills owned all have a great impact on strength. Therefore, at the same level, casual cultivators are almost at a disadvantage. Zhou Daocheng also had to think about how to solve this problem. Letting others injure his men in his own territory is simply a slap in the face of Wugu Market, and it is the kind that Wugu cannot fight back. If many people join forces to drive out a strong man of the same level, it is also a shameful thing. Moreover, the provocateur himself also wants to show his own strength, so as to suppress the momentum of Wugufang City. In the face of this situation, there is no other way except to face it head-on and drive this person out with strong strength. Zhou Daocheng thought silently that if he wanted to improve the strength of the cultivators at the same level, most of them could only use external objects, that is, magic tools, talismans, elixirs, formations, etc. After some consideration, Zhou Daocheng set his sights on magic tools. Most of the magic tools of casual cultivators are of inferior quality. If they can be replaced with a set of powerful magic tools, the improvement in strength will be very huge. Moreover, Zhou Daocheng just happened to have a batch of monster materials suitable for refining magic tools: Purple Demon Wolf Spider and Mirage Cloud Python. These 2 first-level top-grade monsters have extremely high-quality materials, especially scales and spider silk, which are the top existence among first-level materials. Scales can be used to make powerful defensive magic tools, especially extremely precious armor, which is extremely valuable. Spider silk can be made into silk net magic tools, which are mainly used for control and have very good effects. So, Zhou Daocheng brought these materials to the Zhou family's shop, Linkai Pavilion. As the only shop of the Zhou family in Wugu Market, the geographical location is very advantageous. It is located outside the auction venue and belongs to the core of the entire market. Almost all casual cultivators come to buy magic tools, or recast and repair them. When Zhou Daocheng arrived, the shop was very busy. When the Zhou family members saw him, they just nodded politely, and then left him aside, and had no time to pay attention to him at all. In response, Zhou Daocheng could only touch his nose awkwardly. It was not until late at night that the flow of people in the shop gradually decreased. Zhou Daocheng found Zhou Daocheng, who was repairing magic tools on the second floor. Sixth brother, I see you've come early in the morning. Do you have anything to ask me? Zhou Daocheng grinned and touched his belly habitually. His round figure showed his stability. Zhou Daocheng also got straight to the point, roughly explained the recent situation, and put forward his own needs. Fourth brother, I just want to ask you if you can create a set of powerful magic tools for the monks stationed in the Fog Valley, preferably the kind that can directly enhance their strength. Zhou Daocheng's eyes showed a thoughtful look, and then asked, Sixth brother, do you have a rough idea? Zhou Daocheng nodded and took out a large amount of monster materials from the storage bag, all of which were obtained from the purple demon wolf spider and the mirage cloud python. Zhou Daocheng just took a look, his eyes immediately lit up, and he couldn't help but touch it with an amazed expression. Is this a top-grade monster material? Wow, this quality is good enough. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but sigh while stroking it. Since the Zhou family fell into decline, we rarely see high-quality materials. Zhou Daocheng also smiled and said, Fourth brother, there will be some in the future. Zhou Daocheng nodded deeply and asked, Yes. Then what kind of magic weapon do you plan to refine? Sixth brother, do you have any ideas? Zhou Daocheng thought for a while and said, It is best to have a magic weapon that can directly enhance strength and have strong combat capabilities. Zhou Daocheng touched his chin, took another look at the monster material before his death, and said tentatively, If you want to directly enhance your strength, I think armor magic weapons are the most suitable. And there are a lot of monster scales here, and the materials are also very sufficient. What do you think? After all, I am an outsider in magic weapons, so let the fourth brother decide. Okay, then I will plan it carefully. Zhou Daocheng also took over this work generously and began to design this set of magic weapons. After a night of discussion and conversation, the two of them finally came up with a prototype of a set of magic tools, which mainly included two magic tools. The first is the armor-type magic tool for defense, which is made of the scales of the mirage python and the shell of the purple demon wolf spider. The second is the net-type magic tool for trapping the enemy, which is made of spider silk. If a cultivator of the 9th level of Qi refining can be equipped with these two first-level top-grade magic tools at the same time, his strength will definitely be greatly improved. Especially in terms of defense, it has almost doubled, which is enough to face most situations. After making such arrangements, Zhou Daocheng left all the monster materials in the Zhou family's spiritual weapon pavilion and handed them over to Zhou Daocheng for processing. It takes a lot of time to refine magic tools, not to mention that it is the most complicated armor-type magic tool, which consumes a lot of time and energy. And Zhou Daocheng also has other things to worry about. In addition to the provocations within Wugu Market, many things also happened outside of Wugu. Just a few days ago, when Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan went out to hunt monsters, they encountered the hunting team of Jinsect and a conflict broke out between the two sides. Fortunately, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan both had first-grade superior formations, and their strength was very strong. They almost overwhelmed the other side, so they were safe in the end. But other teams of independent cultivators were not so lucky. If they encountered a hunting team of a powerful force, they would have almost no ability to resist. In just over a month, Several forces in Wulgu Market were targeted by Bay Market. Among them were the team of Zid and Pavilion, the team of Fulu Wang family, and some other independent cultivator teams. They were ambushed by the Bay Market hunting team lurking around, and suffered heavy losses. Zhou Daocheng actually did not have a good solution to this problem. After all, in the wild, it is normal to encounter other hunting teams, and conflicts between them are also normal. There is really nothing to say if you are not as skilled as others. There is only one solution, that is to continue to improve your strength. But it is undeniable that the contradictions between Wulgufang City and Beifang City is gradually accumulating, and will only become more and more serious as time goes by. Chapter 189 Strengthening Strength. Beifang City. A spacious conference hall hidden underground. Several monks gathered here. They were the 5 major forces that controlled Beifang City. A gloomy, rickety old man was the first to speak. Everyone, Wulgufang City has been successfully established, and the momentum is getting stronger and stronger. Do you have any plans? HMPH. What are your plans? They must be severely suppressed. The Fire Dragon sect monk said decisively. The elder of the Jin sect also said coldly, I have sent 5 hunting teams to stay around Wulgufang City every day. As long as there are forces stationed in Wulgufang City, I will kill them all so that they dare not go out. Yes, as long as the monks stationed in Wulgufang City are killed, no one will dare to go there again. The old man of the Desu sect said, Everyone, we are mainly targeting the forces under the Lord of Wulgu, especially the strong casual cultivators he has conquered. As long as they are dealt with, the arrogance of Wulgufang City will be greatly suppressed. Haha, this is not a big problem. After all, Wulgufang City's foundation is still too low to compete with us. Then, continue to take action and increase the intensity against Wulgufang City. Don't let them catch their breath. Okay, our Zun Pavilion will continue to send more manpower. The same goes for my Fire Dragon sect. In the following months, the situation continued to deteriorate. Monks in Wulgufang City can clearly feel that the killings around Wulgufang City have increased significantly recently. Many teams were attacked by surprise, and many people died. At the same time, in the past few months, monks have repeatedly caused trouble in Wulgufang City. All kinds of hidden uneasiness are lurking in the dark, but they are vaguely coming to the surface. Zhou Daocheng was on the streets of Foggy Valley, and the voices of other monks could be heard in his ears. Have you heard? Huang Dao, an 8th level Qi refining casual cultivator, was killed by the group when he went out to hunt monsters yesterday. Not a single one of the 7 people in his group was left alive. It's not the first time this has happened. It must be those beasts from Beifang City again. Beifang City is just suppressing Wulgufang City. Why don't you let us casual cultivators go? Don't you understand yet? Beifang City has made it clear that it wants to block Wulgu Valley so that we don't dare to come over and we all return to Beifang City. Going back to Beifang City? I'd rather be frightened here than go back and drink a bottle of first-class low-grade elixir worth 50 spirit stones. The environment in Wulgu is indeed good, but it's a pity that the foundation of Wulgufang City is still too poor. I don't know if it can withstand the siege of Beifang City. It's hard for me. Haven't you seen that in the past few months, you haven't even dared to let out a fart? It is said that the 9th level Qi refining experts under them have also suffered heavy losses during this period. Indeed, there were elders from the Jin sect who caused trouble in Wulgufang City before. The monks from Wulgu couldn't control the situation at all, and they even directly injured 2 people. Well, if this continues, I think I will have to leave Wulgufang City sooner or later. The top management of Fang City is too weak, so they really don't feel comfortable staying here. What if some monsters come up and are completely wiped out? Listening to the rumors, Zhou Daocheng also clearly felt that the flow of people in Wulgufang City had decreased a lot. Obviously, the encirclement and massacre by the 5 major forces in Beifang City scared away many monks and made them afraid to come. If for a long time Wulgufang City is never able to show strong strength and is forced to be suppressed, it will inevitably gradually decline. It seems that we need to take action as soon as possible. We cannot let the situation develop like this. Zhou Daocheng also showed some concern. The other party's plan was very simple, but very effective. It is to use the monks in the qi refining stage with higher overall strength to continuously suppress the strong men of the same level in Wu Yifang City. This is a competition of foundation, but Wu Yifang Shi lacks the foundation the most, making it difficult to accept the opponent's provocation. Regarding this situation, although Zhou Daocheng was anxious, he could only wait silently, because what Wu Yifang City needs most now is time. If you give them a long enough time, they can accumulate a strong enough foundation. Powerful magical weapons, powerful formations, and powerful spiritual beasts will greatly enhance the monk's strength. However, the accumulation of these resources takes time. The spirit snake sect is constantly cultivating spirit-devouring ants, expanding the population and improving the strength of the ant colony. But so far, the only ones that can take action are the first-level low-grade spirit-swallowing ants. In addition to practicing, Zhou Daocheng also spends a lot of time refining formations. However, the cost of the formation disc is too high, the refining time is too long, and there is only one formation master, Zhou Daocheng, so it is difficult to popularize it. The most reliable one is actually the Zhou family's magical weapon. In the past few months, Zhou Daocheng has devoted himself wholeheartedly to the refining of magical weapons. In the past few days, the communication stone has been used to contact Zhou Daocheng and inform him that the first batch of magical weapons had been successfully refined. Zhou Daocheng also immediately put down his work and hurried over to check the situation. Arriving at the second floor of the spiritual weapon pavilion, Zhou Daocheng's eyes suddenly lit up, and he saw several sets of armor with silver armor and white patterns hanging on the shelves. The whole body is an elegant silvery white, with faint cloud patterns flowing around it, giving it a unique sense of beauty. It's not a half-body armor, but a full-body soft-scale armor with helmet, chest protector, arm guards, and leg armor. The value of armor is higher than that of ordinary defensive magic tools, not to mention a full set of armor covering the whole body. Almost every detail of the body is made of the scales of the first-level superior monster Mirage Cloud Python, and the strength is terrifying. Zhou Daocheng reached out and gently touched it, and could feel the heavy breath. The scales of the Mirage Cloud Python are already very strong, and after being refined by the weapon refiner, the toughness and defense are further enhanced. Conservatively estimated, the defensibility of this set of armor is more than 30% stronger than that of the Mirage Cloud Python in its lifetime. Zhou Daocheng walked over proudly with a bulging belly and said, "Sixth brother, how about the Liaoyan silver scale armor refined by the fourth brother?" Each scale has been refined separately. Even among the first-level peak magic, it can be regarded as the best. There is no need for Zhou Daocheng to brag. Zhou Daocheng can feel that the quality of this set of magic tools in front of him must be top-notch among first-level magic tools. The quality is indeed excellent. Fourth brother, your qi refining skills are really amazing. Hehe, thank you for the compliment. Let's take a look at other magic tools. Zhou Daocheng grinned. Liaoyan silver scale armor is not much, only 6 pieces, and it is obviously very difficult to make. In addition, Zhou Daocheng also refined several other first-level top-grade magic tools. Although they are not as good as Liaoyan silver scale armor, they are definitely not weak. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, Building a Foundation. There are also 2 sets of purple demon spider webs, which are made from the silk of the purple demon wolf spider. Their quality is also at the top of the first level and are mainly used to trap enemies. The spider web is highly toxic and sticky. Once it binds the monk's body, it is almost impossible to break free. The spider web will gradually be paralyzed by the annotated poison, and all his magic power will be dispersed. In addition, Zhou Daocheng also used the bones of the mirage cloud python and the spider legs of the purple demon wolf spider to refine 6 offensive weapons. Snake Bone Giant Scythe is a powerful magical weapon made from snake bones as the main body and spider legs as the scythe blade. But compared to purple demon spider web and flowing cloud silver scale armor, Snake Bone Giant Scythe seems much mediocre and has no particularly conspicuous effect. However, the quality still reaches the first level, making it a rare and powerful magic weapon. Looking at the 3 magical weapons in front of him, Zhou Daocheng's eyes showed joy. Even he himself couldn't help but feel longing after seeing these magic weapons. In particular, the floating cloud silver scale armor is of higher quality than the earth dragon armor that Zhou Daocheng refined for himself. What's more, this is a complete set of armor that covers the whole body. The defensive effect is extremely excellent, and it is also more beautiful. Liaoyan silver armor is also very suitable for the name of Wuyifang City. It can be said that this is the armor that is exclusive to Wuyifang City, with great characteristics and style. Zhou Daocheng estimated that if a monk at the early stage of the 9th level of Qi refining was equipped with these 3 magic weapons at the same time, his strength would be approximately doubled. Such strength is almost enough to rival those at the peak of the 9th level of Qi refining. Even just wearing a set of flowing cloud silver scale armor is enough to walk sideways in the 9th level of Qi training, and is stronger than the elders of most forces. Zhou Daocheng's face was filled with joy and he said gratefully, "Thank you, 4th brother." With these magical weapons, Wu Gu's strength will definitely be greatly improved, enough to deal with Beifang City's attacks. Zhou Daocheng showed an honest smile, waved his hand and said, "6th brother, you are too polite. This is all a trivial matter. But, 4th brother, if you have something to say, you might as well say it directly." Zhou Daocheng hesitated for a moment, and then asked, "6th brother, don't you plan to leave such a powerful magic weapon to the family? This way the clan members can be safer when going out." Zhou Daocheng was stunned. After thinking for a while, he shook his head and said, "There are not many Zhou family members left. There is no need to participate in the battle anymore. We should stay in Wuyifang City as much as possible." Then, he added, "As long as the tribe does not leave Wugu, with the protection of me and my eldest brother, there is almost no danger. As for the dangerous things outside, let the casual cultivators do it." Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng also showed a look of understanding and nodded, "Okay. It's my 4th brother who is worrying too much." Zhou Daocheng smiled and said, "4th brother, Wugu Valley is the territory of our Zhou family. You can just stay at the back. If you need monster materials to refine magic weapons, just tell me. The best part of it is definitely left to the family. However, the family probably doesn't need magic weapons like flowing cloud silver scale armor. If there is a chance, 4th brother, you'd better refine some magic weapons like Blue Moon Bracelet and Soul Calming Bell, can also be used as a trump card." Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. "6th brother, aren't you a little too damn greedy? The Blue Moon Bracelet and Soul Calming Bell are 2nd level magic weapons, and they are not on the same level as 1st level magic weapons, okay?" Zhou Daocheng asked doubtfully. "Is it difficult?" "The protective shield formed by the Blue Moon Bracelet can block the attacks of the foundation building monks. Then 4th brother, you can refine a 1st level high grade one that can block the attacks of the later stage of Qi refining." Zhou Daocheng immediately rolled his eyes and said helplessly, "You really think highly of your 4th brother. This is not a quality issue at all, but that only 2nd level magic weapons can have these magical effects." Well, later, after Zhou Daocheng gave a rough explanation, Zhou Daocheng understood the specific situation. A 1st level magic weapon is just the foundation of weapon refining, and it only has a little more aura than a mortal weapon. At most, it has stronger attack and thicker defense. However, if you want to have special abilities similar to spells, you must reach the 2nd level. For example, the shield of the Blue Moon Bracelet, the spiritual attack of the Suppressing Bell, and the ability of the White Bone Flag to absorb the spirit of monsters, all require at least a 2nd level magic weapon to achieve. After understanding it, Zhou Daocheng also scratched his head in embarrassment. It seemed that he still suffered the disadvantage of being uneducated. Finally, Under Zhou Daocheng's resentful and helpless eyes, Zhou Daocheng took away all the magic weapons and left the spiritual artifact pavilion in a hurry. With a powerful magic weapon, you will have the confidence to fight against Beifang City. Zhou Daocheng went directly to the second valley and found Meng Yushan, who was practicing issue in order to summon all the 9th level qi refining experts who have submitted to Wugufang City. Although Meng Yushan was a little confused about this, he still followed the instructions truthfully. Now in the Foggy Valley, there are more than a dozen strong men at the 9th level of qi refining. Among them, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan are the people Zhou Daocheng trusts the most. In addition, there are Wei Hanshan, Zi Zhao, Liu Chengzu, Yuan Zong, and female monk Tenrong. These 5 people are the original members of Wugu, and they are all worthy of trust. In addition, in the later period, the spiritual fields and caves in the second valley were used to also absorb 8 9th level qi refining experts. They all signed lifetime contracts and were completely bound to Wugu. Among them, 6 are independent cultivators, and the other 2 are the leaders of Ziadan Pavilion and Wang family respectively. The cultivators of Ziadan Pavilion and Wang family are generally not responsible for the task of guarding the Fog Valley. They are mainly responsible for market management and ensuring the supply of elixirs and talismans. The remaining 13 people are mainly responsible for the security of the Fog Valley on weekdays to ensure that no outsiders come to make trouble. They are considered the guards of the Fog Valley. Or strictly speaking, they are also the direct forces under Zhou Daocheng. After thinking about it, Zhou Daocheng asked Meng Yushan to call all 13 people over. After waiting for a few minutes, 12 people stood in front of him. Some of their faces were familiar, while some were completely unfamiliar. However, after Zhou Daocheng looked around, he couldn't help but frown and asked, "Why is there one person missing?" Wei Hanshan, the old man, took the initiative to explain. "Senior, Zi Zhao, the Taoist friend, is in retreat, so he can't come for the time being." "Retreat?" Zhou Daocheng asked in surprise. He knew very well that Zi Zhao was a peak 9th level qi refining expert. If he was in seclusion, it must not be an ordinary seclusion. "Old Wei, is he trying to break through the foundation?" Zhou Daocheng asked with a frown. Chapter 191 3 Magical Instruments. Wei Hanshan nodded and said, "Yes. Fellow Taoist Zi bought a small foundation establishment pill at the auction. After being fully prepared, he has now officially achieved breakthrough in retreat." Only then did Zhou Daocheng remember that one of the 3 spirit condensing pills that had been sold at the auction was taken away by Zi Zhao. However, Zhou Daocheng was not very excited about the news, but frowned tightly. He asked seriously, "Old Wei, why didn't you discuss such a big matter with me in advance?" Wei Hanshan was stunned for a moment, but replied, "After all, it was Taoist Zi who took the elixir on his own. He wants to retreat and break through, and we have no right to interfere." "Then you know, what is the fate of the other 2 monks who photographed the Ningling pill?" Zhou Daocheng said seriously. Elder Wei looked stunned, and said with a hint of loneliness, "The breakthrough failed, and the body exploded and died." "Then you will let Zi Zhao break through?" Mr. Wei sighed and said, "The road to cultivating immortality is as difficult as climbing to the sky. For us, building a foundation is a threshold that is difficult to overcome in a lifetime. Even if there is a high probability of failure, there is still a need to try." I hope seniors can understand. When Zhou Daocheng heard this, he knew that Mr. Wei had misunderstood what he meant. Perhaps in Wei Lao's view, the reason why Zhou Daocheng was angry was because Zi Zhao did not report the advance and made the breakthrough without permission, which undermined Zhou Daocheng's majesty. But this is not the case. Zhou Daocheng took a deep breath and said, "What is the probability of success for his own breakthrough?" "Did you know that breaking through the foundation is to condense the spiritual energy of the whole body into liquid and build the foundation of the immortal path? The process requires an extremely large amount of spiritual energy. If I help him regulate his body, clear the blockages in his body, and then supply a large amount of spiritual energy when he breaks through, do you know how much the success rate will increase?" Zhou Daocheng gritted his teeth and every word struck Wei Hanshan's heart like a heavy hammer. The old man's eyes were so fierce that he didn't come back to his senses for a long time. This is the biggest difference between casual cultivators and family cultivators. As casual cultivators, they are extremely sensitive in character. They solve everything by themselves and rarely borrow the help of others, including breakthroughs. If a member of the family is about to make a breakthrough, the first thing to do is to report it to the family, because every tribesman represents not only himself, but also the wealth of the family. This is the emotion and bond passed down by blood. When the family elders are sure that he can break through, they will specially prepare elixirs, talismans, an environment suitable for cultivation, and formations if conditions permit. Later, elders will be specially arranged to teach and protect the Dharma. The whole process is still quite cumbersome and complicated. However, it also greatly increases the probability of breakthrough and avoids many dangers to a great extent. But people like Zhao started to retreat regardless of the situation, and the hurdle they faced was to break through the foundation building stage. In Zhou Daocheng's view, it was no different than sending someone to death. After Wei Hanshan was stunned for a few seconds, he hurriedly bowed respectfully and said hurriedly, "I misunderstood the senior." Fellow Taoist Z has just been in seclusion for a few days, and he probably hasn't started to break through yet. I will call him back immediately. After saying that, he hurried to Zhao's cave. Zhou Daocheng also shook his head helplessly. It would still take some time to completely change the minds of these casual cultivators. Tens of minutes later, Wei Hanshan walked out of a cave with a depressed Zhao. It is very dangerous to be suddenly interrupted and retreat, but compared with the risks that may be encountered during the injection process, this is nothing. Zhao's spiritual energy was severely damaged, but fortunately his foundation was not damaged. He only needed a period of recovery before he could get back on his feet. Senior Z was anxious, and he was too eager to break through the foundation building, so he went into retreat in a hurry. Zhou Daocheng waved his hand and said, "When I arrange things, I will personally guide you to make a breakthrough. Foundation building is a big deal, so don't rush it." "Yes, Senior," Zhao responded softly. There was doubt in his heart, but there was also a trace of warmth flowing through him. Zhou Daocheng did not say much, but looked at the 13 ninth level qi refining cultivators present and said, "Everyone, Beifang City has been chasing us fiercely during this period. How do you feel?" The scene was quiet for 2 seconds. Yuanzong took the lead and cursed loudly, "Mata, those stupid beasts have been ambushing around Wugu all day long. What's even more damn hateful is that I can't beat them. So I'm a fool." Zhou Daocheng's face darkened. "Can you be more civilized like me when riding a horse, you idiot?" Yuanzong. Other people. Mr. Wei also heard a lot of dark things. How could this sound like a conversation between high-level officials in the city? What a vulgar market person. Ahem, Senior, you'd better tell this story directly. We are indeed under siege from Beifang City these days. If this continues, I'm afraid it's not an option. Yes, although we are at the same level, our strength is still somewhat inferior to our opponents after all. And their team is well equipped and cooperates well. It is really difficult for us to fight head-on. Although most casual cultivators have a proud personality and have indeed been angered in recent days, they have to admit that the forces in Beifang City are obviously stronger than them. Zhou Daocheng nodded, signaled everyone to be quiet, and said, "So this time, I will make new arrangements for you to improve your strength." Hearing this, everyone's eyes showed curiosity. Zhou Daocheng did not explain, but directly took out the magical weapons he had just obtained from the storage bag: flowing cloud silver scale armor, purple demon spider web, and snakebone giant scythe. When these 3 magic weapons appeared in front of everyone at the same time, they immediately attracted everyone's attention and looked over. Just from the breath coming out of the magic weapon, do they know how high the quality of the magic weapon is? There were 13 people present, all of whom were at the 9th level of qi refining, and most of them had their own first-level high-grade magic weapon. However, when they saw the magic weapon that Zhou Daocheng took out, they were extremely surprised to find that their own magic weapon seemed to be of extremely inferior quality and was not on the same level at all. especially that set of full-body armor. It was completely beyond their understanding of magical weapons. Their first-order high-grade magic weapon is just the poorest quality, naturally inferior to the floating cloud silver scale armor that Dodge spent all his efforts refining last week. Senior, you. Zhou Daocheng looked at everyone calmly and said seriously, from now on, everyone's daily actions need to be regulated. Whether you are stationed in the city or going out to hunt monsters, there will be strict rules and regulations. At the same time, I will also help you increase your strength, whether it is magical weapons, talismans, elixirs, or even formations. I will prepare them for you. At least you will have a strength that is not weaker than that of Beifang City. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. Chapter 192. Guards and Hunting Team. The constraints of rules and regulations do make them feel uncomfortable, but the improvement of strength makes them yearn for it. Yuanzong couldn't wait to say, Senior, if you can give me these magic weapons, you can arrange them as soon as possible. Zhou Daocheng smiled and said, I will have 2 arrangements in total. The first is personnel arrangement. The personnel stationed in the market and the personnel going out to hunt monsters will be distinguished in the future. Meng Yushan, Yuanzong, Liu Chengzu, you plus 3 other 9th level Qi refining cultivators will be responsible for going out to hunt monsters. In the future, every time you go out to hunt monsters, 2 9th level Qi refining strongmen will go out together, each with a set of Liuyan silver scale armor and snakebone giant scythe. If you need purple demon spider web, you can apply for it separately. At the same time, the configuration of your hunting team will be optimized by Wei Lao later, and there will be special training in normal times. And your future tasks are mainly responsible for hunting first-level top-grade monsters, obtaining various precious sales materials, and cleaning up the surrounding Bay Market cultivators. After the words fell, the several Qi refining level 9 cultivators who were named looked at each other in bewilderment. Although they would usually lead hunting teams out to hunt monsters, they had always been quite casual. It seemed that from now on, they would gradually become more standardized. The 6 selected cultivators were all relatively strong and had good individual combat capabilities. Several people responded one after another, and under Zhou Daocheng's arrangement, they stood behind Meng Yushan. Zhou Daocheng continued, Lin Yuan, Zizao, Tang Rong, and the other 3 Qi refining level 9 cultivators. The 6 of you will serve as the Fog Valley guards, and will be mainly responsible for the safety of the Fog Valley. If you patrol in the market in the future, go and get a set of Liuyan silver scale armor, snakebone giant scythe and purple demon spider web. Anyone who dares to make trouble in the market will be arrested without mercy. As for Elder Wei Hanshan, you are responsible for managing the logistics of the 2 teams and keeping these magic weapons. There are a total of 6 sets of Liuyan silver scale armor, 2 sets of purple demon spider web, and 6 snake bone scythes. Whichever team needs them, please report to Elder Wei and apply for them. After Zhou Daocheng made simple arrangements, the system of the entire Wugu market was gradually improved. As for more detailed arrangements, Zhou Daocheng did not need to take care of them, and they could be left to them. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan, as the leaders of 2 important teams, would be directly responsible to Zhou Daocheng, and they could ensure that everything was under control. As for the magic weapon, it would not belong to individuals, but whoever needed it could apply to Wei Lao. After handing the magic weapon to Wei Hanshan, Zhou Daocheng turned and left, and took Zizao with him. As a peak powerhouse of the 9th level of Qi, Zizao is also a very important cultivator in the market today, and like Wei Hanshan, he is an experienced casual cultivator. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng still cares about his life and death very much. Keeping this person can take on some major things. Taking him to a cave, Zhou Daocheng turned his head and looked at him, and asked, Zizao, how confident are you that you can break through successfully? Zizao lowered his eyes slightly and said, less than 20%. Zhou Daocheng slightly. This success rate is actually not low. In theory, if there is no external assistance, Only one of the 25 peak cultivators of the 9th level of Qi refining can break through. Especially for cultivators from small families and independent cultivators, their talents are not high, their foundations are not solid enough, and they all have flaws. They have no preventive measures for breakthrough vision. Therefore, the probability of breakthrough is extremely low. This is why Zhou Daocheng had to interrupt Zhao's retreat. Zhou Daocheng said, more than 10% probability is not low, but with my help, it should be higher. Zhao was quite surprised, looked at Zhou Daocheng with some curiosity, and asked, "Senior, do you have any special means to help me break through?" Zhou Daocheng nodded slightly and said, "On the one hand, you have been fighting with monsters for many years, and your meridians have been injured a lot, and the flow of spiritual energy is blocked, which will greatly affect your breakthrough." Zhao's eyes fixed, but he didn't say anything, just nodded solemnly. On the other hand, the process of building the foundation requires a lot of spiritual energy, and it is best to be in an environment with rich spiritual energy. I can also satisfy you as much as possible. After listening, Zhao only thought about it for a while and understood the benefits. Then he immediately bowed gratefully and said respectfully, "It is Z who is anxious. I hope the senior can help me. I will be grateful." Zhou Daocheng waved his hand, took out a huge piece of wood from the storage bag, and then threw a bag of medicine to Zhao, and ordered, "Boil water and prepare for a bath." "Bath?" Zhao asked in confusion. Zhou Daocheng explained simply, "This is a medicinal bath bag, which can help you eliminate the turbidare in the meridians in your body and repair some hidden injuries." "Is it really so magical?" "Try it and you will know." Zhou Daocheng just smiled. This was the Huozuoyun medicine package, but strictly speaking, it should be 1/5 package. The original amount was too large, and it was too wasteful to give it to one cultivator, so Zhou Daocheng distributed it later. Was just enough for one person. Although Zhao had some doubts in his heart, he still began to boil water doubtfully. After a cup of tea. When he was immersed in the light red liquid, feeling the burning medicinal power boiling and refining on his skin, the doubts in his heart completely disappeared. He deeply felt that the medicinal power, like a flame, was illuminating his dark body, burning away all the filth and turbidare in the dark gray. Many blocked meridians were unblocked at this moment, and the rich spiritual energy was like a rushing river, never so comfortable. Wisps of black turbidare kept floating above the body, accompanied by a strong sour smell. Zhao felt that his old and broken body seemed to be reborn at this moment and restored to the vitality of his youth. He knew that after this medicinal bath, his body function was at least 5 years younger, and the possibility of such a breakthrough was greatly increased. At the same time, what kind of medicinal bath formula could have such a terrible effect, which made him sigh at the means of his predecessors. As the bath was coming to an end, Zhou Daocheng looked at Zhao with satisfaction and asked, "How does it feel?" "Great, I've never felt so good before." Zhao couldn't help but sigh. "Then, continue to enjoy it. I'll prepare a place for you to break through," Zhou Daocheng said as he stood up and walked out. Then, as if he remembered something, he suddenly turned around and asked, "By the way, is your attribute ice attribute?" Zhao was stunned for a moment and smiled bitterly. "No, I am a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots, mainly water spiritual roots, and I also practice water attribute exercises. Last time I just used an ice spell." Zhou Daocheng showed an understanding expression. He was still wondering, when did a cultivator with multiple spiritual roots actually have different spiritual roots? It turned out to be due to the spell. Chapter 193 Wu Gu takes action. After knowing the attributes of the spiritual roots, Zhou Daocheng can also create a suitable environment for Zhao to break through according to his attributes. Just like the first grade superior formation thick earth spirit formation that he used, it can continuously produce earth attribute spiritual energy. As for the water attribute formation, Zhou Daocheng chose the first grade superior return flow formation after repeated selection. After fusing with the gathering spirit formation, you can get the return flow spirit formation, which allows the formation to continuously fill with water attribute spiritual energy. The process of arranging the formation took about a week. With the improvement of strength and the improvement of immortal cultivation skills, the speed of arranging the first grade superior formation is also accelerating. During these 7 days, Zhao has been constantly recuperating his body. The damage he suffered from forcibly coming out of seclusion has now been completely recovered. At this moment, both his magic power and his own spirit have been restored to the extreme. And this time is also the best time to break through. In Zhao's cave, the returning spiritual array has been arranged, and water-attributed spiritual energy has been continuously generated, with a light aqua-blue luster and rich water vapor. Zhao has also sat cross-legged in the array, with a solemn expression and closed eyes to rest. With the contact in the past few days, Zhao also completely trusted Zhou Daocheng, allowing him to help arrange the environment for breakthrough and help him protect the way. After Zhou Daocheng arranged everything, he turned around and left the cave, found a place outside the cave to sit cross-legged, and protected Zhao. At the same time, with a light flick of his right hand, the clouds in the sky began to move slightly, and a large amount of spiritual energy gathered. In the array, the rich spiritual energy also began to fluctuate, surrounding Zhao's cave, directly reaching the level of the second level, and extremely rich. In such an environment, whether it is the attributes, quantity, purity, or richness of the spiritual energy, all have reached the most perfect state. And Zhao also officially began to break through the foundation. Zhou Daocheng also sat cross-legged on the ground quietly. Ordinary people may not be able to feel the movement of a breakthrough, but strong people who have reached the foundation building stage can still detect the subtle changes in spiritual energy. Not long after, a figure came from a distance and walked to Zhou Daocheng. Daocheng, is someone breaking through the foundation? Yes, big brother, a casual cultivator, Zhou Daocheng responded calmly. Zhou Daobai looked solemn and said, "Aren't you afraid that you can't control him after he breaks through?" Zhou Daocheng smiled faintly, "He can't make any trouble in my territory. As for whether he will submit to me, let's take a gamble. If he is willing to submit and become a member of Wuyifang City, it would be great. If he is unwilling, let him go. No matter what, there will be no grudge. Anyway, the price I paid is not much, just treat it as a good relationship and a possibility." Zhou Daobai heard the words, thought for a moment, and nodded. He saw that his sixth brother was much more open-minded than him, and did not care about the gains and losses in front of him, and was willing to invest in the illusory future. "Then, you should pay more attention to yourself. The gap between the 9th level of Qi refining and the foundation building is still very large." Zhou Daobai still reminded him, "Okay, but with you here, big brother, he can't make any waves." Zhou Daobai smiled and said, "Yes, sixth brother, just find me if you have anything. Breaking through the foundation building stage is not something that can be completed in 1 or 2 days. It will be a long process." As a protector of the way, Zhou Daocheng naturally cannot leave easily. And during Zhou Daocheng's protection, the prototype of the guard team and hunting team of Wuyifang City gradually appeared in front of the world. In particular, the 3 magic weapons attracted the attention of a large number of cultivators as soon as they appeared. Outside Wuyifang City, 4 teams confronted each other. Among them, there was the hunting team led by Meng Yushan and Liu Chengzu. Both of them were wearing flowing cloud silver scale armor, with their whole bodies covered in armor, and the flowing cloud patterns on their bodies showed their unique beauty. In addition to the magic weapons he often used, Meng Yushan also held a set of purple demon spider web. As for the other 2 teams, they were the old man from the Jin sect and the middle-aged beautiful woman from the Beiwa Pavilion. They had also reached the 9th level of Qi refining and were extraordinary in strength. The old man from the Jin sect licked his lips and looked at the magic weapons of Meng Yushan and others unscrupulously, without any fear. This was not the first time the 2 sides had met. There had been several conflicts before, but it was always the team from Wuyifang City that suffered. Normally, if there were Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan in the hunting team, they would be able to rely on the power of the formation to remain invincible and even launch a counterattack. But if there were no 2 of them, most of the teams from Wu Yifangshi would be at a disadvantage. After all, one side was a carefully selected hunting team from the forces, and the other side was just a team of casual cultivators with varying strengths. The strength gap was still very large. The old man of Jin sect leaned forward without any hesitation, and offered a golden jade bottle magic weapon in his hand, and a golden liquid with a foul smell flew quickly. This is the unique magic weapon of Jin sect, which stores powerful golden water inside. It has strong corrosiveness and its power should not be underestimated. Before, many people suffered a great loss under the golden water. Die. I let you run away several times before, this time you will die obediently under my golden water. The wanton laughter resounded through the forest. However, the next moment, a terrifying scene appeared in front of the old man of Jin sect. The golden water attached to the surface of the armor, only slightly corroding a layer of the epidermis, leaving some uneven black marks, and then there was no other movement. How is it possible? Taking advantage of this opportunity, Meng Yushan would not give up, and directly turned defense into offense, using the quicksand array plate and quicksand technique in his hand at the same time. In just a moment, the old man of Jin sect was trapped. Liu Chengzu also did not hold back, and the sharp poison needle quickly attacked the controlled old man of Jin sect at a tricky angle. Deu, save me, the ancestor of Jin sect shouted in fear. The beautiful woman of Baiwa Pavilion frowned, and the rattan whip quickly swung over, directly wrapping the old man of Jin sect, trying to pull him out. However, at the moment she made a move, an accident suddenly occurred. Boom, bang bang bang. Hundreds of huge thorny vines appeared behind the middle-aged beauty, like a giant green python, quickly wrapping around the middle-aged beauty. There are others? The middle-aged beauty was horrified. With the magic weapon already sacrificed, she was completely unable to resist the golden spear 100 vine formation. But this is not over yet. At the same time as the golden spear 100 vine formation was launched, the purple demon spider web in Meng Yushan's hand also attacked, and the two methods of trapping the enemy took effect at the same time. The golden spear 100 vine formation was on the periphery, and the purple demon spider web directly bound the body and pressed the middle-aged beauty of the Baiwa Pavilion directly to the ground. After only a cup of tea, the toxins of the purple demon spider web began to invade the body, and the middle-aged beauty's struggles became smaller and smaller. Chapter 194 Advantages. On the other side, the old man of Jin sect was deeply trapped in the quicksand. Seeing the middle-aged beautiful woman trapped, he also showed despair. The other party's goal was not himself from the beginning, but the middle-aged beautiful woman of Baiwa Pavilion who was supporting in the rear. As the middle-aged beautiful woman fell into a coma and was tied up and controlled, the old man of Jin sect was easy to deal with. Also use the purple demon spider web to tie her up and use the poison to make her fall into a coma, and capture her alive without injury. Before the old man of Jin sect fell into a coma, he vaguely saw the third 9th level chi refining strongman walking out of the jungle behind him. This time, there are not only 2 hunting teams besieging them, but 3. Meng Yushan said calmly, send these 2 people back to the market first, and then prepare to clean up other teams. What about the other cultivators in these teams? Liu Chengzu asked. In addition to the 2 9th level chi refining strongmen, each of their teams has 9 late-stage chi refining cultivators. After thinking for a moment, Meng Yushan arranged, take them back together, maybe they can be useful to you. Okay. Then, the 20 Tide monks were taken directly back to Wugu Market. Under Wei Hanshan's arrangement, they were directly imprisoned in a cave. The team consisting of Meng Yushan, Liu Chengzu and Yu Anzong left the market again to clean up the teams in the surrounding Bay Market. With the first attempt, they also had a clear understanding of their own strength. The powerful defensive ability of Liu Yan's silver scale armor was enough for them to deal with various dangers and occupy an absolute advantage on the front battlefield. Just relying on Meng Yushan and Liu Chengzu, it was enough to restrict the enemy, at least to make both sides evenly matched. And Yu Anzong, who was hiding in the dark, took the golden spear 100 vine formation lent to him by Lin Yuan, and launched a surprise attack in the dark. and directly settled the matter. And their fighting style is not to kill the opponent with a fierce offensive. Instead, they used a lot of control methods and the poison of the purple demon spider web to capture them alive. Whether it was the quicksand formation, quicksand technique, golden spear 100 vine formation, or purple demon spider web, they were all based on control, making it almost impossible for the opponent to move. Such a routine immediately caught the enemy off guard. In just 1 week, the three of them used similar methods to wipe out 5 teams from Beifang City again. They captured 7 9th-level Qi refining masters and more than 60 late-stage Qi refining monks alive. As a large number of people disappeared, the team in Beifang City finally became alert, began to gather the team, and sent the news back to Beifang City. But it was too late. The figure of the cloud-patterned silver armor, like a ghost around the Wuyifang City, appeared in various places, hunting monks from Beifang City. Especially after everyone in Beifang City discovered them, Meng Yushan no longer concealed himself and appeared in the open to hunt down the team in Beifang City. In order to be on the safe side, a 9th-level Qi refining expert was directly added, and the 4 of them acted together. And Wei Hanshan, who was in the rear, also fully supported this action and temporarily handed over most of the magic weapons to the hunting team. This also created an almost gorgeous team configuration. 4 9th-level Qi refining experts, each with a set of Liaoyan silver scale armor, 2 sets of purple demon spider web were also used, and there were also 2 sets of first-level top-grade formations. At the same time, in order to support the actions of Wuyifang City, the Spirit Snake sect also provided a batch of first-level middle-grade spirit-devouring ants, allowing Meng Yushan and others to enter the wild environment as if they were in an uninhabited place. The battle between the 2 major cities gradually came out from the secret place. Many casual cultivation teams around Wuyifang City can see a scene in the near future. Several monks wearing cloud-patterned silver armor fought with the monks from Beifang City, and the 2 sides fought fiercely. Magical instruments, talismans, and formations emerged one after another. Whether it was day or night, one could hear the sound of swords and the roar of talismans and formations. At this moment, all the forces stationed in Wuyifang City understood, facing the blockade and provocation of Beifang City, Wuyifang City chose to confront head-on. Such courage once again ignited the confidence of the monks in Wuyifang City, including many monks who left, who also chose to return in the near future. They no longer had to worry about being attacked, because the monks in Beifang City were already busy and eager to deal with the pursuit of Wuyifang City. As the fight between the 2 sides continued, the advantages of Meng Yushan and others finally emerged. They had a lot of resource supplies backed by Wuyifang City, and they were all equipped with cave-type formations. Even in the wild environment, they had safe caves for rest and supply. The team in Beifang City did not have such good conditions. On the one hand, they were far away from Beifang City, and after all kinds of resources were used up, they could not be effectively replenished. On the other hand, they not only had to deal with the pursuit and sneak attacks of Meng Yushan and others, but also had to face the monsters in the wild environment. Because there was no cave-type formation to protect them, they had to be alert to the environment at all times and were always in a state of mental tension. It would be fine for 1 or 2 days, but once the time was extended, most of them were listless and their combat power was weakened. In such a situation, the cultivators on both sides were gaining and losing. The teams in Beifang City were hit hard one after another, and many teams were captured alive. Even several 9th-level Qi refining masters were killed, and their morale was low. Faced with such a situation, no matter how unwilling Beifang City was, it knew that it could not continue to fight. The teams that could be sent to encircle and suppress Wuyifang City were all elites in their respective sects, especially the 9th-level Qi refining masters, whose status and value were extraordinary. If the losses continued like this, even the foundation-building forces would not be able to withstand it. In the end, the bloody storm that broke out on the outskirts of Wugu Mountains ended with Beifang City's voluntary withdrawal, and the dispute that lasted for several months finally came to an end. The final result was beyond everyone's expectations. As an old strongman, Beifang City did not gain any benefits, but suffered heavy losses and left in disgrace. And Wu Yifang City, as a brand new market, won the final victory and stood firm under tremendous pressure. This also means that the two major markets can truly compete with each other and become the two dominant forces in this area. After the strong strength shown by Wu Yifang City, it was trusted by more monks. Many monks who left Wu Yifang City returned again after receiving the news. The entire Wu Yifang City resumed its prosperous development. As soon as Beifang City evacuated, Wei Hanshan had already received the news and immediately notified Zhou Daocheng. This is definitely the best news for Wu Yifang City today. Chapter 195 Slave Market. This means that they gained a temporary advantage in the first round of competition and ushered in stable development. Zhou Daocheng breathed a long sigh of relief and felt relieved. If the other party refused to die and would rather suffer huge losses than cripple Wu Yifang City, that would be the last thing she wanted to see. But fortunately, the five major forces in Beifang City were not so courageous. After losing several strong men at the 9th level of qi refining, they directly chose to evacuate. Zhou Daocheng smiled and murmured, "Yes, it is a good thing for us. Wu Yifang City has just been established, and we need time to accumulate knowledge." Wei Hanshan nodded and said, "Indeed, after this battle, our Wu Yifang City has become famous and can be compared with Beifang City. Moreover, our Wu Yifang City is in a more advantageous location. A large number of monks come here. As long as if we maintain stable development, our prospects will definitely exceed those of Beifang City." Zhou Daocheng slightly, putting aside all human factors and looking at the development prospects of the two cities, Wu Yifang City will definitely crush Beifang City. However, Zhou Daocheng also knew that Beifang City would not give up. Stealing people's money is like killing their parents, let alone the benefits brought by a city. Therefore, as long as Wu Yifang City exists for one day, its relationship with Beifang City will inevitably be on the same level. By the way, senior, there is one more thing that you need to. Wei Hanshan said. In the previous battle, we captured a group of monks from Beifang City, numbering about 50 people. Deciding, what do you think we should do with them? Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows, not expecting such an unexpected gain. More than 70 prisoners. The value it can bring must be far beyond imagination. Moreover, these people are all the elites among the 5 major forces in Beifang City, and their representative significance is even more extraordinary. Zhou Daocheng thought for a while and asked, how many of these 70 people are strong at the 9th level of qi refining? The 5 are at the 9th level of qi refining, and the rest are also at the later stages of qi refining. Wei Hanshan replied, is there anyone with an unusual status? Wei Hanshan thought for a while and said, many of them are the mainstays of their respective forces, and their status should be high. Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng raised a smile on his lips and asked lightly, Mr. Wei, what do you think? How should we deal with these people? Wei Hanshan was stunned, and after careful consideration for a moment, he said coldly, we already have a life and death relationship with Beifang City, so there is no need to hold back. I suggest that they all be executed to show that I, Wu Gu thunderous means. Zhou Daocheng's eyes moved slightly, knowing that this kind-faced old man was also a decisive leader. Moreover, they have killed in a controlled manner and have rich experience. This is to take advantage of this victory to further strengthen Wu Gu's edge and suppress Beifang City. However, Zhou Daocheng shook his head and said calmly, Old Wei, I understand your thoughts, but today's Wu Yifang City is not suitable for having a too loud reputation. Wei Hanshan frowned slightly, with a hint of doubt in his eyes, but after just thinking for a few minutes, he understood the reason. Senior, do you think that now that we are in the middle of a war, it is not suitable for a big conflict to break out? Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, this is only one reason, and there is another most important reason. That is that our foundation is too weak and cannot withstand too many wars. Rather than being sharp, we need a stable development environment. We need peace. Peace? Wei Hanshan chewed the word carefully and seemed to understand its meaning, but he did not understand it thoroughly. Zhou Daocheng said calmly, whether these more than 70 monks are killed or not, it doesn't matter to us. The most important thing is how to use them to obtain the greatest benefits. So, what senior means is ... not to kill. Zhou Daocheng did not answer immediately. After thinking silently for a moment, he said, Old Wei, open another slave trading market in Fangxi and throw more than 70 people in. Kill or save, this question will be left to me. Consider it Beifang City. After the words fell, Wei Lao's old and cloudy eyes suddenly lit up. He slapped his thigh fiercely, and said excitedly, Senior, are you trying to kill someone? Zhou Daocheng just smiled and said, the price has been raised, so there is no need to give them face. Wei Hanshan was a little confused and said, if the price is too high, they probably won't buy it, or should they just pay it according to the market price? They should be able to make a lot of money. In response, Zhou Daocheng shook his head and explained, throwing them into the slave trading market does not really mean selling them as slaves. If we do this, then both parties will really fight to the death and there will be no change possible. Using this almost humiliating method to release him is simply rubbing the face of the 5 major forces in Beifang City on the ground. They will definitely not give up in the future, so it is better not to let him go. Zhou Daocheng's purpose is to obtain greater benefits and to win a better development environment for Yifang City. After this suggestion, Wei Hanshan immediately understood Zhou Daocheng's deep meaning. Senior, do you want to use the sale of slaves to force the other party to come forward to negotiate with us? Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, let's do it as soon as possible. Only after the 2 parties have discussed it can we arrange the following matters. Okay, I'll do it right away. Wei Hanshan looked at the purple-robed figure in front of him, with a hint of wonder in his eyes. He could feel that the person in front of him was not too old, but his planning and layout methods were not immature at all. Don't be greedy for small profits, but pursue big plans. As Mr. Wei left, Zhou Daocheng also took a long breath and murmured to himself, I can finally be quiet for a while, and it's time to prepare. It's time to break through the foundation establishment. Unfortunately, the foundation establishment bill is still there. There is no solution. I hope there will be a good result this time. Beifang City. The 5 forces of Desu Sect, Jin Sect, Zhen Pavilion, Fire Dragon Sect, and Beiwei Pavilion gathered together again. This is the first time they have met so frequently in recent decades. The leader of the Jin Sect slammed the table, his strong anger evident in his words. These bastards in Yifang City really did such a dirty thing and actually sold our monks as slaves. I will never let this go. The old man from the Desu Sect, whose face was also extremely ugly, but whose temper was relatively stable, said, now is not the time to lose your temper, let's think about what to do. The elder of the Fire Dragon Sect also said angrily, have we caught their monks? At worst, we will sell them in the slave market and see what they do with them. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the others became even more uncertain. If the matter is so easy to solve, then why do they have to gather here to discuss whether to save it or not? The elder of Beiwei Pavilion said coldly, that's the problem. They use magical weapons and formations to forcibly capture more than 70 of our monks. We didn't bring back any of them. Chapter 196 Discussion. What the hell? How can the gap be so big? Although our hunting team is very powerful, they even killed 2 9th-level Qi refining monks from Yifang City. However, they could only kill them, but they could not capture them. When the elder of the Fire Dragon Sect heard this, he was immediately discouraged. Can we only spend spiritual stones to redeem it? But the trouble now is that we may not even be able to redeem ourselves. The old man of Desu Sect said coldly, Senior, what does this mean? The old man from the Desu Sect had a gloomy look, threw out a stack of paper, and said, this is their price. Take a look for yourselves. Others looked curiously, and after just one glance, they couldn't help but burst out in disbelief. Mad, what kind of bullshit price is this? A 7th-level Qi refining monk, asking for 10,000, the 9th-level Qi refining elder wants 50,000 spirit stones? Why doesn't he go and grab it? The elder of the Fire Dragon Sect suddenly blew his beard and stared in anger. However, when he saw the prices of other people, he let out a sigh and said, why are the prices of Beiwei Pavilion and Zhen Pavilion so cheap? Are you secretly stuffing them with benefits? Stop farting. The elder of Baiwa Pavilion scolded, his face extremely ugly. I hope he bids a high price, so that things won't be so troublesome. Zun Pavilion also nodded, because among the prices in front of him, all the young and beautiful female monks were priced at 1 spirit stone. This is the real murderous act. Once the slave market officially opens, they will naturally know exactly what will happen to these female monks who put a price on 1 spirit stone. The old man of Dsu sect sighed deeply and said, "It seems that the other party does not really want to sell slaves." The leader of the Jin sect nodded slightly. "Yes, if you really want to sell it, you won't put such an incredible price. Since you did this, there must be other purposes." The elder of Zun Pavilion frowned and said, looking at the other party's intention, "He plans to talk to us." Putting more than 70 people from Beifang City on the slave market shows that the price is unrealistic. It is definitely not just for humiliation, but for other purposes. The major forces in Beifang City can understand the meaning with a little thought. The leader of the Dsu sect lowered his eyes, and after a long silence, he said calmly, "Well, since the other party wants to talk, I will go there in person." It seems that the people behind Wugu the means are not simple. Others were silent when they heard the words. From the initial vow to ignore Wuyifang City at all, to now suffering a big loss and taking the initiative to negotiate peace, only a few months have passed. Although they are unwilling to admit it, the fact is already before them. This new Wuyifang City has completely taken root and has become a serious problem for them. The head of the Dsu sect didn't have much time to hesitate, because more than 70 monks had already been put on the slave trading market. That night we hit the road directly and headed to Wuyifang City again. 10 days later, he formally met Zhou Daocheng outside the formation in Wuyifang City. Zhou Daocheng also didn't expect that the other party was so fast, coming almost non-stop. It seems that as a powerful force that has been passed down for hundreds of years, their face is still extremely important. If it can be resolved in a more peaceful way, they are not willing to break their face, and this is exactly what Zhou Daocheng hopes. This time, the leader of the Dsu sect did not enter the formation. Instead, he and Zhou Daocheng stood on the inside and outside of the formation, ensuring a safe distance. Similarly, this is also a sign of respect and fear, which at least shows that in the heart of the Dsu sect master, he has been treated as a fellow Taoist of equal strength. Lord of Fog Valley, long time no see. Zhou Daocheng was dressed in a purple robe and still wore a bronze mask, and said calmly, "No need to say more, just talk about the business." The head of the Dsu sect smiled and said, "Since fellow Taoist disciples are so impatient, I will just tell you that for those 70 captive monks, our Beifang City can provide 30,000 spiritual stones to redeem their lives." Both parties knew each other's purpose, so they went directly to the topic without too many pleasantries. However, when he heard the price given by the other party, Zhou Daocheng sneered and said, 30,000 spirit stones. Are the elite disciples of the 5 foundation building forces only worth this price? Or, Your Excellency has no intention of having a good discussion with me? The leader of Dsu sect also knew that he was in the wrong, and said with a faint smile, "This is just the price I proposed. If you are not satisfied, we can continue to negotiate." 30,000 spirit stones is indeed not a small amount, but for the 5 forces in Beifang City, it is definitely not too much. Even strictly speaking, just taking the price of more than 70 monks themselves is already more than 30,000 spiritual stones. The other party obviously didn't have much sincerity when they reported this number. Zhou Daocheng glanced at this person coldly and said, "Tell me your bottom line. Since you choose to sit down and talk, let's have a good talk. There is no need to continue testing." The head of the Dsu sect slightly and said, "Since you're so candid, I won't say much more. For 50,000 spirit stones, this matter is over." Zhou Daocheng still shook his head. "Your Excellency, please don't be too greedy." The Dsu sect leader frowned. Zhou Daocheng lowered his eyes and said, 50,000 spirit stones is actually not impossible, but you have to add a foundation building pill. Hearing this, the leader of the Dsu sect turned green. "Impossible? Let's not talk about whether this price is acceptable or not. And there is no foundation building pill on the market now. You must go to the market of other Zaifu forces to buy it. Please please change the conditions. Then, 120,000 spirit stones. The leader of the Zhou sect's face became darker. Don't ask for too much. HMPH, more than 70 powerful slaves. I think they should be very popular. This price is too high. Even if I agree, the other forces will not agree. The two people's discussion lasted for a whole day. It was not until the next morning that both sides were dry-mouthed and their eyes were bloodshot, and they came to a conclusion that both sides were satisfied with. The final result included a total of 3 agreements. First, Bay Market will take out 70,000 spirit stones to redeem 70 cultivators. This is the final bottom line that Zhou Daocheng tested after repeated discussions. If it is more, it is likely that they will not be able to reach an agreement. Second, both parties will swear with their hearts that within the next 10 years, the two major markets will not fight with swords. However, considering that there will be more or less friction in normal times, another restriction was added to this agreement. Fighting is allowed in the qi refining stage, but it is not allowed to involve the combat power of the foundation establishment stage. This agreement is acceptable to both parties. Perhaps at the beginning, Bay Market tried to directly seize Wugu Market with its powerful strength, but after a series of setbacks, it just gave up this idea. Whether it is this terrifying second-level upper-grade natural maze or the foundation-building cultivators hidden in the Fog Valley, they have to be wary. Moreover, now it is in the era of war in King Shan sect, and the foundation-building masters are not in the sect, so they have to act carefully, so they are even more unwilling to provoke Wugu. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 Transaction. The same is true for Zhou Daocheng. He may not be able to survive a fight, and he may not dare to kill, so peaceful coexistence must be the best option. The third agreement further enhances the possibility of peaceful coexistence between the two parties. From now on, the two cities will coexist peacefully, but if other powerful forces appear within the sphere of influence of the two cities, both parties will need to work together to expel them. This means that Beifang City has accepted the existence of Wuyifang City, but it is also preventing this situation from happening again in the future. In the future, if other forces want to take root in this land like Wuyifang City does today, they will inevitably be attacked by both sides. Therefore, this agreement is to safeguard the interests of both parties and is beneficial to both parties. Zhou Daocheng also readily agreed. Although I didn't get the coveted foundation establishment pill, the final result was already very good. Moreover, he knew very well that it was almost impossible to obtain the foundation establishment pill from the 5 major forces with only more than 70 casual cultivators. Because these more than 70 monks combined are not worth one foundation establishment pill. Although the price of the foundation establishment pill in the market is only 50,000 spirit stones, everyone knows that it is not difficult to accumulate 50,000 spirit stones. The real difficulty is how to buy a foundation establishment pill. However, when all the discussions were over and Zhou Daocheng was about to return, the old man of Zhou sect suddenly stopped him. Lord of Wugu, I was talking to you on behalf of Beifang City just now, but now, I want to discuss another cooperation with you in my personal capacity as the head of the Zhou sect. I wonder if you are interested? Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows and turned his head curiously. What kind of cooperation? Tell me. The leader of the Zhou sect showed an incomprehensible smile and said, if I guessed correctly, Senior Flame Snake Fairy should be in the Foggy Valley, right? Zhou Daocheng was not very surprised. The red snake had already action taken when they last met, and the Zhou sect master could more or less guess the identity of the person who took action from the details. Not bad. Any questions? Zhou Daocheng replied calmly. The leader of the Zhou sect smiled and said, fellow Taoist, don't worry, this matter has nothing to do with Flame Snake Lady. and I am not interested in causing trouble with this person. The cooperation I want to discuss is with Flame Serpent Lady. A suitor is concerned. Zhou Daocheng looked stunned and frowned quietly. He had a vague guess in his heart, but he still asked, "Who?" Bone Flag Pan. Zhou Daocheng showed a clear expression under his bronze mask. This is indeed the only person who can be remembered by the leader of the Dessous sect and who is also the suitor of Flame Snake Lady. Zhou Daocheng's eyes narrowed slightly and he said, "Have you got a grudge?" The head of the Dessous sect raised a sneer on his lips and said, "This matter should not be a secret." After breaking through the foundation building period, Pan He once took advantage of my retreat to force his way into our Dessous sect's ancestral land and robbed a second-level mid-grade item. The magical weapon is the bone flag he is using now. Zhou Daocheng frowned slightly. He didn't expect that there was such a secret in it. It really amazed him. I didn't expect that Pan He would be so bold and dare to enter the Dessous sect to snatch the treasure, and he actually succeeded, which shows that this person is very capable. With the strength of your Dessous sect, are you going to let this person get away with it? Zhou Daocheng asked. HMPH. Of course it's impossible. I tried to capture him many times, but he escaped by chance. Now as his strength becomes stronger, it's getting harder and harder to catch him. As he spoke, there was a look of resentment on the brows of the Dessous sect leader, and he almost gritted his teeth and said, "So this time I want to discuss cooperation with fellow Taoist. If this person comes to Wugu again, I hope that fellow Taoists can take action and trap him in the formation. You can leave the rest to me. If the plan succeeds, my Dessous sect will offer 50,000 spirit stones, and I owe you a favor." Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng's eyes turned, and his mind was full of thoughts. The temptation offered by the other party is indeed very great. As long as Pan He is trapped, he can get 50,000 spirit stones and the friendship of Dessous sect without taking action. And aside from these interests, the existence of Pan itself is a huge unstable factor. This person had shown great hostility towards him before. If the woman with the red snake tattoo hadn't stopped him in time, he might have started a fight. And vaguely, the woman with the red snake tattoo also intended to use Pan He to suppress and restrict herself. This is also a very bad signal. If there was only the woman with the red snake tattoo, she could barely suppress her with her own formation and her elder brother Zhou Daocheng. It's hard to say how the situation will develop if another Pank is added to the mix. Zhou Daocheng thought for a long time and weighed the pros and cons. The Dessous sect's middle team did not rush him and just silently waited. After a long time, Zhou Daocheng slowly raised his head and said, "I can agree to your cooperation, but the specific cooperation content needs to be changed." "You want the lion to open his mouth again?" The head of the Dessous sect twitched his mouth and took a step back in fright. He still vividly remembers the discussions he had just had all day and night, and he is really worried that he, an old man, will die of exhaustion here. Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng's face suddenly darkened. "What do you mean? The lion opens its mouth again?" This is simply an insult to his character. With a cold glare, Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "What I mean is, exchange cooperation for a transaction." "What's the meaning?" Zhou Daocheng showed a meaningful smile and said, "I can help you as much as possible with Pan He's matter, but I also need your help for one thing. Let's help each other and gain each other's friendship. How about it?" The leader of the Dessous sect did not agree readily, nor did he show a look of surprise. After several contacts, he knew that the person in front of him might be young, but he was very cunning and had great means. If he was not careful, he might fall into a trap. In addition, he could argue with him for a whole night for tens of thousands of spirit stones before, but now he didn't even want 50,000 spirit stones. He really couldn't believe it. After a moment of silence, the leader of the Dessous sect was still worried and said, "You should tell me your request first." "I'm not sure I can help you complete it. Just do your best," Zhou Daocheng said indifferently. "Do your best is a later story. Tell me what it is first." The leader of the Dessous sect refused to give in at all, and looked determined. Zhou Daocheng was also helpless, feeling that his character was not respected. Helplessly, Zhou Daocheng had to clear his throat and said, "I heard that the place where your sect is located is an extremely yin place with a special kind of natural treasure, which seems to be called earthly evil yin qi." Chapter 198, Safe development. The leader of the Dazhou sect frowned slightly and nodded undeniably. The location of the Dazhou sect is not a secret. It is a very rare and extremely yin spiritual vein that can breed precious Dazhou yin qi. This Dazhou yin qi is actually an extremely dangerous gas. If the yin qi invades the body without any precautions, it will cause irreversible damage or even death. However, everything in the world has advantages and disadvantages. If special means are used, this dangerous Dazhou yin qi also has very strange effects. The most important thing is that it can be used to refine the body. For body refining cultivators, it has extraordinary value and significance. Secondly, it can also be used as a material for refining instruments, formations, and talismans. Even some powerful sects can use this Dazhou yin qi to refine powerful puppets and corpses. In short, this is an extremely precious resource in the Dazhou sect. Lord of Fog Valley, do you want earthly evil yin qi? Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, if I succeed in helping your sect to kill Pan He, I need 10 strands of earthly evil yin qi. As soon as these words came out, the face of the leader of the earthly evil sect turned black. Earthly evil yin qi is extremely valuable. Even the extremely yin spirit vein of the earthly evil sect can only produce 1 strand in 3 years. As a result, he asked for 10 strands directly. Impossible. This price is too high. I can only give you 5 strands at most. The leader of the earthly evil sect thought for a long time and said this number with gritted teeth. Okay. 2. The surprise of the leader of the earthly evil sect, Zhou Daocheng actually agreed directly without any hesitation. However, Zhou Daocheng really didn't plan to ask for more. The reason why he wanted earthly evil yin qi was not because he had a use for it, but simply because the earthly evil yin qi was expensive, and there was definitely no harm in taking it. In addition, he practiced the Wu Tu Kunyugong and also had a certain part of body refining, which was certain to be useful in the future. As for the quantity, he also knew that this kind of item was extremely rare. It would be fine if it was a little less, but if it was more, the Dazhou sect would probably not be able to give it. The two sides reached a deal, and the leader of the Dazhou sect returned to Bay Market with more than 70 cultivators, and Zhou Daocheng also returned to Wugu with satisfaction. It can be said that through this conversation between the two sides, almost all the contradictions were resolved, ushering in a great peace. Next, there may still be various frictions between the two major markets, but at least it will not rise to the war of the foundation building period. Even if possible, the two sides will reach a certain degree of cooperation. After all, the two sides are so close, there must be contact between them, and even the shops in the two markets will have more or less cooperation. What's more, Zhou Daocheng knew in his heart that although Wugu market has unique conditions, its foundation is still too weak. Whether it is strength foundation or business development foundation, it is far inferior to Bay Market. The reason why Wugu went to Shandong again was because 5 foundation building masters were removed from the 5 major forces. Otherwise, it was still unknown who would be stronger and who would be weaker in this dispute. Therefore, if we can learn from the experience of the old Taoist priests in Beifangxi during the cooperation process, it will also be of great benefit to Wu Yifangxi. And next, what Zhou Daocheng has to do is more about the development within Wu Yifangxi. To be more specific, it can also be said that the Zhou family, Shanghai sect, and Wu Yifangxi are jointly developing. The big platform of Wu Yifangxi has been established, and great monks have settled in, making it a relatively prosperous market. What needs to be done next is to gradually improve the details and enrich this market, so as to bring greater benefits. On the one hand, we need to let the Zhou family and the forces under his command have a higher voice in this market. On the other hand, we need to obtain more cultivation resources and spirit stones. Zhou Daocheng walked to the second valley while thinking. A small part of the spiritual fields here have been rented or sold, but the remaining large part belongs to Zhou Daocheng himself. During these days, Zhou Daocheng was constantly thinking about what kind of spiritual plants he should plant to maximize the benefits. The spiritual fields here can always maintain the quality of the first-class upper grade because they are always nourished by spiritual energy, so they can be planted in large quantities of first-class upper-grade spiritual medicines. After wandering around the market for a long time and looking at a large number of spiritual medicine seeds, Zhou Daocheng still did not make a decision. In fact, there are not many spiritual medicines for him to choose from. He can either plant cultivation resources, such as earth essence grass. However, high-quality earth attribute spiritual plants are not common, and the environment in the Second Valley is not particularly suitable. Strictly speaking, the cultivation environment formed by the thick earth spiritual array is sufficient for use at present. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng can only choose to plant other crops. After thinking again and again, he decided to plant array material crops. Even the type has not changed, and he still plants yellow thorn vines. This crop, which does not require a high production environment, is relatively easy to raise, and has a high value, is really the best choice. The value of the golden spear 100 vine array is also very high among the first-class upper-grade arrays. At present, the yellow thorn vines in the Balan Lake Valley are not enough, especially if you want to refine the golden spear 100 vine formation. The demand is even greater, so planting some in the Second Valley is also a very good choice. However, in addition to the Second Valley, Zhou Daocheng also has many other areas that can be used to grow spiritual plants. The outer area of the Wugu Mountains. The outer area of the mountains is mostly rocky and complex, and it is difficult to grow crops. However, as the master of the formation, Zhou Daocheng can use the formation to a certain extent to slightly change the terrain and create an area suitable for growing spiritual medicines and raising spiritual birds. Zhou Daocheng also had to feel fortunate that he had a natural maze. If it was an ordinary second-level formation, it would be difficult to do this. The natural formation, plus the second-level maze, can change the terrain, which is an extremely amazing method. If Zhou Daocheng remembered correctly, only giant and cultivators have the means to move mountains and fill the sea, and change the world, but it is not using formations, but using a spell called mountain moving technique. However, the mountain moving technique of giant and cultivators is far from being as simple as changing the terrain. It can move spiritual veins, spiritual eyes, spiritual stone veins, etc. Changing the terrain is only the most common function. Of course, Zhou Daocheng doesn't know much about these situations. Turning his eyes back to the foggy valley mountains in front of him, he can clearly see that the spiritual energy in the mountains outside the formation is extremely rich, almost reaching the second-level upper grade. In terms of the overall environment, it is much better than the underground cave. Moreover, there is a formation to protect it. The environment is safer, and the clouds and fog can be used to block the sight of outsiders, so it is not easy to be discovered and coveted. So Zhou Daocheng first instructed Meng Yushan to plant yellow thorn vines in the forest field of the Second Valley, and then went to the mountains outside the foggy valley alone. Looking around, you can see that this second-level natural formation covers a large area of mountains, even wider than imagined, stretching for dozens of kilometers. This is the characteristic of natural formations, with a wide coverage area and a strong momentum formed by the formation. This is difficult for human array masters to do, and generally speaking, no one does it, except for some powerful sects. They need to use arrays to cover the entire sect, which will exhaust manpower and material resources to arrange super large arrays. Zhou Daocheng looked around and finally chose the mountains on the north and south sides, intending to open up a spiritual field on both sides, mainly because the east and west sides are not convenient. The west is the entrance to the Fog Valley, and there are many monks coming and going, which is not suitable for planting. Needless to say, the east is infinitely close to the East Great Wilderness Vein, and there are often powerful monsters passing by, which is too dangerous. Therefore, only the north and south directions are the most suitable. First came to the north, where there are mostly cliffs and cliffs, or long and narrow valley cracks. Although the concentration of spiritual energy is very high, there are few spiritual medicines and monsters. Chapter 199. Zhou Daocheng looked around carefully, found a relatively wide area, and then began to manipulate the formation to change the terrain. I saw layers of clouds and mist covering the area, and the patterns of the formation were running huge spiritual energy. which changed this extremely heavy land at a slow speed. After a cup of tea, the clouds gradually dispersed, and the scene in front of me also changed drastically. I saw that a spacious valley was formed in the cliffs and rock walls that were originally squeezed together without any gaps. The peaks and cliffs around the valley were squeezed more tightly. From the sky, it seemed like a hole smashed by a meteorite. This is an absolutely safe valley. Whether it is a human cultivator or a monster, it is difficult to pass through the layers of fog and walk to this area. In addition, in the process of moving the terrain, Zhou Daocheng also specially dug out the deeper soil from the ground for planting. Although the soil deep underground does not contain a lot of spiritual energy, as long as it is warmed in the spiritual energy for a period of time, it can gradually become a spiritual field. In the concentration of spiritual energy of the second grade upper grade, it may be difficult to reach the level of the second grade upper grade spiritual field, but it is still very easy to reach the second grade. As for the spiritual plants to be planted, Zhou Daocheng had already anticipated it in his mind, mainly spiritual grains, brewing materials, and formation materials. The second grade spiritual grains have extremely rich spiritual energy, especially for qi refining cultivators, which are almost equivalent to elixirs with weaker medicinal power. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng chose a kind of spiritual grain called purple jade spiritual rice. The quality of the grain is the second grade lower grade. When mature, it is light purple and crystal clear like jade. It is a very high-grade spiritual rice. It is said that if it is planted in large quantities and the planting environment is good, some second-grade medium-grade spiritual rice may appear. However, it is almost impossible to plant in large quantities because Zhou Daocheng does not have too many seeds. The purple jade spiritual rice seeds in his hand were purchased from a casual cultivator. He also accidentally found a few plants in the wild, so the number is not large. After a rough estimate, only about 1 acre can be planted. Although he felt a little regretful, Zhou Daocheng was content. After all, it was already very difficult to obtain the second-level spiritual valley. As for the remaining spiritual fields, they could only be used to grow other crops. Zhou Daocheng planned to plant 2 kinds of wine-making spiritual medicines. One was moonlight grass. Moonlight brew had been brewed for several years. It was a very good quality spiritual wine, and the price was relatively cheap. The quality was only the first-level medium grade, and most cultivators could afford it. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng decided to plant a large number of them. However, in this spiritual medicine garden valley, because the concentration of spiritual energy was very rich, moonlight grass could grow anywhere, so Zhou Daocheng planted moonlight grass in the corners as much as possible, and scattered some seeds wherever there was soil. As for the other wine-making spiritual medicine, it was called red life flower, a second-level low-grade spiritual medicine, which could brew as second-level low-grade spiritual wine leeks and zui. The formula of this spiritual wine was bought at a high price from a 9th-level qi refining casual cultivator not long after Zhou Daocheng opened the market. This is the convenience of opening a market. Once valuable items appear, Zhou Daocheng can get them first and buy them. Red life flower is also a common second-level spiritual medicine, which belongs to the fire attribute cultivation material. The same is true for leeks and zui. It is like a burning fire when it enters the throat. It is extremely strong. After taking it, weaker cultivators may directly burn their lungs and are likely to be injured. But for powerful fire attribute cultivators, it is an extremely precious spiritual object, which is very beneficial to improving their strength. And many casual cultivators who are wandering on the edge of life and death especially like this kind of strong liquor. Considering that the market for this kind of spiritual wine is good, Zhou Daocheng also bought some seeds and planted some red life flowers. The number of seeds is still not much, only about 2 acres are planted. After planting purple jade spiritual rice, moon grass, and red flowers, there is still more than half of the land left in this spiritual medicine garden. Zhou Daocheng plans to use all of it to plant array materials. First, it is still the yellow thorn vine. In the second valley, some yellow thorn vines of lower quality are planted, and in this spiritual medicine garden, yellow thorn vines of higher quality are cultivated as much as possible. In addition, Zhou Daocheng also plans to move the purple air green spirit bamboo here. The second level inferior spiritual spring can no longer meet the growth environment of the purple air green spirit bamboo. Not only can it not continue to improve its quality, but it will no longer reproduce. Zhou Daocheng is still very troubled by this situation. According to the last experience, when the purple air green spirit bamboo breaks through to the second level, there is a probability of reproduction and growing green spirit bamboo shoots. Unfortunately, the remaining 4 first-level purple air green spirit bamboo have not yet broken through the limit of the second level. Zhou Daocheng also wants to try to change the environment for them, which may bring new development. However, he cannot plant purple air green spirit bamboo for the time being, and needs to return to Balan Lake. Both the yellow thorn vine and the purple air green spirit bamboo belong to the formations that have been arranged before, and the effect is quite good. As for the remaining land, Zhou Daocheng decided to plant a new spiritual plant. The quantity was not large, and the quality was only first-grade superior, black puppet wood. This was originally a very good puppet material that could be used to refine first-grade superior puppets. Logically speaking, Zhou Daocheng could not use it at all. However, Zhou Daocheng accidentally discovered that there is a first-class top-grade formation in the formation book, called puppet wood formation. It is to refine the black puppet wood, contain it in the formation, and then use the formation pattern to transform puppets within the formation range. This kind of puppet made by the formation also has good strength, and because of the addition of black puppet wood, the puppet's physique is extremely strong. Except for the low intelligence and lack of combat skills, there are almost no other weaknesses, and it can be used as a 9th-level chi refining strongman. And in a puppet wood formation, a total of 2 puppets can be transformed, which is equivalent to 2 9th-level chi refining strongmen, and their strength is also very good. However, strictly speaking, the power of this formation is actually far inferior to the golden spear 100 vine formation and the purple chi green spirit sword formation. The 2 first-class top-grade puppets seem to be powerful, but if they face a 9th-level chi refining strongman, it is actually difficult to hurt each other. However, Zhou Daocheng's real trump card is not the formation itself, but the fusion formation. Among the first-class formations, there is an extremely special formation. If it can be integrated with the Kuima formation, it may be possible to make this first-class formation reach the level of the second level. The first-class formation has the strength to rival the foundation-building masters. This is almost impossible. But Zhou Daocheng understood that there was absolutely no exaggeration in it, but it could indeed be achieved, but there were many conditions that needed to be met, so it was difficult to achieve. Chapter 200. After thinking for a long time, Zhou Daocheng decided to give it a try. Perhaps it was really possible to create an extremely powerful formation. And the black puppet wood was just the first step of the attempt, and it was also the simplest step. As for whether it would succeed in the end, Zhou Daocheng himself was not absolutely sure, but it was worth a try. It took Zhou Daocheng nearly 2 days to take care of the spiritual medicine garden located in the north of Wuyifang City. A total of 6 crops were planted: purple jade spiritual rice, moon grass, red fierce flower, yellow thorn vine, black puppet wood, and purple air green spirit bamboo. At present, the first 5 have been planted, and the purple air green spirit bamboo is still in Balan Lake. Now in front of us, the neatly arranged large areas of spiritual fields make this wild valley show a hint of vibrant life. And under intentional control, the clouds and mists in the sky full of spiritual energy are also shrouded in the spiritual medicine garden. The moist mist, accompanied by rich spiritual energy, slowly penetrated into the soil. Even without the need to irrigate the spiritual spring, the quality of the soil was constantly improving. Zhou Daocheng looked at this scene and felt quite satisfied. His body and mind felt much better. However, the task was not yet completed. Zhou Daocheng continued to come to the south of Wuyifang City. He also found an area with a suitable location, and then mobilized the formation to slightly transform the terrain, so that it would form a valley suitable for breeding spiritual beasts. Here, he also planned to build a spirit beast garden. However, although it was easy to open up a site for the spirit beast garden, Zhou Daocheng had not yet made plans for what kind of spiritual beast to breed. Now, Zhou Daocheng actually did not have many spiritual beasts that could be used for breeding. The first was the mirage cloud python. This little snake could be brought here and lived in this valley. Secondly, there was the ironback barbarian bear, which could be brought from the White Scale Lake. It was also a powerful force and could help a lot. Finally, there is the purple armored devouring spirit ant, as the spiritual beast with the greatest potential in Zhou Daocheng's hands and the most likely to become a trump card. It is natural to bring it to the Fog Valley. After thinking about it carefully, Zhou Daocheng still felt that it was necessary to return to Balin Lake and bring some important things. So, without much hesitation, Zhou Daocheng made some arrangements and set off directly to return to Balin Lake. The 10-day journey passed in a flash, and after a few months, Zhou Daocheng returned to Balin Lake again. It was still the sparkling lake surface and the quiet and peaceful valley. Everything was developing in an orderly manner. It seems that the safety of the Balin Lake station was still guaranteed while most of the combat forces went to the Fog Valley market. But it is also true that although Zhou Daocheng, Meng Yushan, and Lin Yuan are gone, Qin Lai and the iron-backed barbarian bear are still stationed here, and their strength should not be underestimated. Moreover, the formation left by Zhou Daocheng is not a decoration. As long as there are monsters or cultivators approaching, it is enough to discover and counterattack in the first time. After taking a look at the situation and making sure that nothing unexpected had happened, Zhou Daocheng returned to the underground cave. After leaving for a while, the cave had been stained with a thin layer of dust, and the luminous stone emitted a faint light, illuminating this not-so-big cave. The spiritual spring eye was still gurgling, and the wisps of misty spiritual energy enveloped the spiritual spring eye, like a fairy spring. The purple air-green spiritual bamboo growing on the side grew very vigorously, but the level did not change much. It seemed that the spiritual energy born from the spiritual spring eye could not meet the growth of the purple air-green spiritual bamboo. In the spiritual spring eye, the black pattern lotus was the same. Although the breath of life was stronger and the quality was slightly improved, it would take some time to break through the second level. After thinking about it, Zhou Daocheng chose to dig out the purple air-green spiritual bamboo with its roots, and the black pattern lotus continued to be raised in the spiritual spring eye. Although the concentration of spiritual energy in the Fog Valley was higher, it was not necessarily more suitable for aquatic spiritual plants such as the black pattern lotus than the spiritual spring eye. As for the purple air-green spirit bamboo, it is actually not suitable to be planted underground, which is not good for its growth, so it is better to take it away naturally. After digging out all 5 purple air-green spirit bamboos, Zhou Daocheng also checked the situation of the purple armored spirit swallowing ants. He was surprised to find that the number of ants had increased a lot, and there were nearly hundreds of them. It seems that in the past few months, the queen ant has laid eggs several times again, which is a very good phenomenon. However, these hundreds of purple armored spirit swallowing ants are all only the strength of the first grade lower grade, and now they are still unable to shoulder the heavy responsibility. But Zhou Daocheng is confident that as long as there is sufficient spiritual energy, the purple armored spirit swallowing ants can brew enough spiritual honey, and they can continue to multiply and grow, and eventually become a powerful ant colony. The environment of the underground cave is actually not very suitable for the development of the purple armored spirit swallowing ants, because it is underground, and it is also underground under an island in the middle of a lake. Therefore, the ant colony has no place to collect spiritual honey. Moreover, Zhou Daocheng also specifically explained that they are not allowed to collect the spiritual liquid in the eyes of the spiritual spring, for fear that they will waste it. Therefore, the ant colony has always relied on the spiritual honey provided by Zhou Daocheng to survive, and the amount provided is not much, which has affected the reproduction speed. However, this situation will be perfectly solved once it reaches the Fog Valley. Not only is the concentration of spiritual energy in the Fog Valley more concentrated, but there are also many spiritual plants, spiritual medicines, spiritual flowers, and even monsters growing around it. These spiritual things can be collected by the spirit-devouring ants and brewed into precious spiritual honey. At the same time, with Zhou Daocheng escorting them, They can also ensure their safety in the early stage, so that they can develop rapidly. Compared with this, it is a world of difference. While thinking, Zhou Daocheng packed up the purple armored spirit swallowing ants. Because the spirit beasts cannot be stored in the storage bag, Zhou Daocheng used a package to directly pack all the purple armored spirit swallowing ants and carried them with him. As for the fertile spiritual soil, it was also packed into the storage bag and taken back to the Fog Valley. Not only the fertile spiritual soil in the ant nest, but also the remaining fertile spiritual soil in the warehouse, as well as other materials. Zhou Daocheng also packed them all. This time he came back with a total of dozens of storage bags, just to bring all these useful things to the Fog Valley. After packing everything, Zhou Daocheng left the underground cave with satisfaction. It can be imagined that he will stay in the Fog Valley for a long time in the future, and his focus will be there. When he walked out of the underground cave and was about to leave, he saw a figure in a white long skirt standing in a corner of the island. Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows. He almost forgot that his wife was still here. Touching his nose awkwardly, Zhou Daocheng still took the initiative to greet, "Long time no see, Yunzhi." Zhao Yunzhi frowned slightly, looked Zhou Daocheng up and down, and said with a strange look, "What are you doing secretly? I thought there was a thief in the house." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.